12 o'clock noon, and this is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos, KSL's top story. Just into the newsroom, police are now investigating a third claim of domestic violence against Secret Lives of Mormon Wives star Taylor Frankie Paul. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson is live with the latest. Heather?
Maria, Paul has been accused of domestic violence for a third time by her ex-boyfriend, Dakota Mortensen, this time in West Jordan.
The allegations were reported to us at the end of February of this year, and detectives have reviewed video believed to be recorded in early to mid-2024.
Sergeant Adam Julian with the West Jordan Police Department says they're still investigating and talking to everyone involved, so no charges have been filed yet. This new claim comes about a week after we've learned that Paul is also being investigated for domestic violence in Draper last month. Mortensen has since filed a protective order against Paul. Paul pled guilty in abeyance to a case in 2023, the case at the center of a viral video showing her throwing a stool at Mortensen in the presence of her daughter. Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill says Paul could face an enhanced charge in these newer cases because of that prior conviction. Reporting live, Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
The hot weather continues with highs in the 80s today. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says we could break even more records.
Folks, we broke more records yesterday. Hit a high of 81 Tuesday afternoon in Salt Lake City. That broke the old record of 78 back in 1956. St. George hit 92, breaking the old record of 89 back in 1956. More records fell across southern Utah. Kanab hit 88. That was a record. Cedar City, 83. Price, 82. Vernal, 81. Ogden, 77. Bryce Canyon, 76. And even Alta hitting 61 degrees up there at 8,500 feet, breaking an old daily record. Coming up for today, more record highs, potentially making a run at all-time March highs yet again. If we set a March high, that would be the third in the last 7 days.
Matt says there is a weather pattern change next week that could bring rain. The ski season is ending early for many resorts here in Utah, but Snowbird is already getting ready for next winter. Ski passes for the 2026-27 season are now on sale. It comes with some benefits, including $100 renewal credit and a kid's freeloader pass. Technology used to help handle controlled burns here in Utah could soon be used to control avalanches as well. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
When Utah goes into canyons to set off avalanches, they do it by dropping explosives from a helicopter, setting off a charge with a tower, or by firing a World War II-era howitzer cannon. But now they're talking with companies about potentially using drones to drop explosives instead.
It's actually quite safe, so there's no way to set it off unless we send a bunch of very specific commands to it, and only when it's in a certain location.
That's Garrick Detweiler, the CEO of Drone Amplified. He says their drones are already being used to set off avalanches in Alaska, and they're already used here in Utah to start prescribed burns. I asked Detweiler if he thinks we'll one day have these drones for avalanche control here in Utah.
I'm sure of it. I mean, this is the way the future is going.
A UDOT spokesperson tells me it's definitely possible, but there are still some things to figure out before that happens. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Rampant rat infestations have rocked St. George as the warmer weather welcomes rodents. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott has that story.
Danny Shakespeare from Shakespeare Pest Control says the warmer weather, available food, and invasive species have created a perfect storm for recent rat infestations across St. George.
It gives them more time to breed and to spread, and they don't have to hunker down as much to just spread from environments. If they're from the south, they're able to come higher because of the warmer winters.
Shakespeare says it's too late to stop the arrival of invasive species, but it's never too late to prevent their access to your home. Some solutions include making sure your outdoor trash area is clean and putting steel wool in exhaust pipes that may let rodents get into your home. Cameron Elliott, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories. Iranian state TV says the 15-point plan presented by the Trump administration has been rejected. It comes as the U.S. sends about 1,500 troops from the 82nd Airborne Division to the region. More from ABC's Ann Flaherty, who says there are questions as to what the troops would be doing.
What we are told is there are some things that he could potentially be looking at. Seizing Karg Island is one of them. This is the hub of Iran's all of its ability to produce and manufacture oil. We are told by experts that could be extraordinarily dangerous. I've even heard the term suicide mission. ammunition used with something like this. They're also talking about, well, you could use ground troops potentially to go in to seize that enriched uranium that the U.S. wants. That, too, would be extraordinarily risky.
Iran is issuing its own ceasefire proposal, demanding reparations and total control over the Strait of Hormuz. ABC News contributor and former Defense Department official Mick Mulroy says it doesn't appear that the two sides are anywhere near a deal.
Just from the rhetoric, it looks like we're far away. I mean, Iran's proposing things that the United States is never going to accept. We're not going to remove ourselves from the bases in the Middle East. We're not going to pay the Iranians reparations for this air war. It's just not going to happen.
Mediators are said to be pushing for a meeting soon. First Look Traffic. Good afternoon, Tito.
Good afternoon. We have an accident that's causing a road closure in Tooele County on eastbound Mid-Valley Highway at Parachute Park Lane in Erda. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
Are you looking for a fun way to get your kids outside and off their screens this spring? Try flower gardening. Starting a beautiful flower bed or easy container garden is a great hands-on way to spend quality time together while teaching kids about nature. They'll love digging in the dirt, picking out their favorite flowers, and watching them bloom, all while making real, lasting memories. Plus, gardening is a great way to slow down, soak up some sunshine, and enjoy the fresh air as a family. This is Brian with Olson's Greenhouse, and my family has been growing flowers with care for 4 generations right here in Utah. Whether you have a big sunny backyard or just a small shady front porch, our colorful, locally grown flowers make it easy to add beauty to your home. So this spring, start with a new family tradition, one that grows with your kids. Get inspiration at Olson's Greenhouse Gardens on Instagram or find a garden center near you at ogg.com. That's ogg.com for Olson's Greenhouse Gardens.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss. As the #1 small business lender, Zions Bank helps entrepreneurs reach and exceed their goals. Visit your local branch or zionsbank.com/SBA. Equal housing lender.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Thank you for joining us for Midday, recapping our top local story. Utah reality TV star Taylor Frankie Paul is being investigated for a 3rd instance of domestic violence. KSL News Time, 12:08. There is a large fire burning in Utah County right now with billows of smoke in Provo, but the Provo Fire Department says this is a prescribed burn and they are controlling it at this moment. 1 in 3 adults use AI chatbots to get answers to health questions. ABC News medical contributor Dr. Alok Patel says it could point to disparities in healthcare access.
Another reason people are turning to chatbots is because of cost and barriers to actually getting appointments. Now, younger adults, when you look at the data, were more likely to use chatbots for mental health care. They were not always going to seek a doctor if they needed to for a follow-up, which is really important because we know that chatbots aren't always accurate. Uninsured Americans and minority groups are also most likely to use it as well.
He says it's just easier. A chatbot will always be there no matter the time of day. The measles outbreak in the state is still growing. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi with the update.
There were 30 more cases reported last week, bringing the statewide total to 486 since the start of the outbreak. Health officials are pleading with the public to get vaccinated, saying it's the best way to avoid contracting the highly contagious but preventable disease. They say it appears that people are getting exposed to the measles at sporting events and large gatherings. Pregnant women should not get vaccinated, and babies are cleared for the shots at 6 months of age.
Symptoms start like a cold, but a rash typically develops within a few days. A former distance runner and marathoner who is suffering from ALS and confined to a wheelchair got a chance to experience Utah's delicate arch.
It's not easy to get someone that far up there. The park rangers were super impressed.
Raul Wharton made the 3-mile round trip thanks to family and friends who pushed, pulled, and carried him and his 3-wheel wheelchair the whole way. KSL TV's Dan Rascone says the trip was part of the celebration for Wharton's 50th birthday. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. What's going on, Tito?
A fatal accident has caused a road closure in Tooele County. It's on eastbound Mid-Valley Highway at Parachute Park Lane in Erda. And up north in South Ogden, we have congestion due to a traffic light being out. It's on Highway 89, affecting traffic between Harrison Boulevard and Bonneville High School. With nutrients blended for greener, healthier turf in our local soil, IFA's 4+ Lawn Care program is the ultimate lawn owner power move. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
I got a sizzler in the city. 84 degrees today. Could rival an all-time March high, mostly sunny and breezy. 52 overnight, not that cool. But by tomorrow afternoon, 65, mostly sunny skies. We're up to 68, mostly cloudy by Friday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And a lot of sunshine right now in downtown Salt Lake City and 77 degrees. Coming up on Midday, we'll talk to a nutrition specialist about what foods are becoming more popular as the prices continue to go up. That's coming up, streaming live at kslnewsradio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Does your home have peeling paint or faded colors? Don't procrastinate. You need to protect your home with quality paint and a worry-free process, so make an appointment with CertaPro Painters. You quickly get a free estimate that's detailed, easy to understand, and then their trusted local professionals will bring fresh color to your home with quality craftsmanship at the right price. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro.com.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother. A necklace tucked away in a drawer. Pieces full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jeweler specializes in reimagining family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Duke's on-site jewelers and designers work with you one-on-one to honor the original story, while creating something fresh, modern, and uniquely yours. From resetting diamonds into new engagement rings, to transforming multiple heirloom pieces into one stunning design. Every project is crafted with care, precision, and intention. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, where old stories become new treasures. dukesjewelers.com.
Every day here in Utah, people turn to KSL News Radio for one simple reason: trust. Trust for our reporters, hosts, our coverage, and trust in the businesses heard right here. I've met so many of our listeners over the years, and they'll tell you KSL is part of their daily routine, in the car, at work, at home. And when they hear your business here, it carries the weight of that trust. It isn't just another ad. It's a recommendation coming from a reliable source. When you advertise on KSL News Radio, you reach a loyal, highly engaged audience who listens intentionally. They show up for breaking news, accurate information, and meaningful conversations. And because of that connection, they respond. And when you pair our on-air credibility with digital tools like display advertising, social media, streaming audio, search, geo-targeting, and retargeting, you get a full funnel strategy that works and reaches the right people at the right time. Get marketing that truly moves the needle. Partner with the voice Utah trusts. KSL. Learn more at kslnewsradio.com/advertise.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
rampant rat infestations have rocked southern Utah as the warmer weather welcomes rodents. I'm KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott.
second, a Los Angeles jury has found Google and Meta liable in the social media addiction lawsuit targeting the world's top social media platforms. Third, traffic and weather together, Tito.
Still seeing delays up north and south Ogden. Crews are still working on a traffic light being out. It's on Highway 89, causing delays between Harrison Boulevard and Bonneville High School. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll be rivaling daily record highs today, but maybe even monthly highs. I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine, 77 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A jury in Los Angeles returning a verdict against Meta and Google, the parent companies of social media platforms Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Jurors found both companies liable for negligence and failure to warn, finding the apps were designed to be addictive for young kids. Here's ABC's Elizabeth Schulze.
At the center of this case is a now woman named Kaylee, who said that she basically got hooked on these apps as young as age 6. She was using them for hours a day, and that contributed to mental harm over the years. This is, for her lawyers, they say a big win for her. This really is seen as a bellwether case for thousands of others like it that take on big tech companies and their role in the social well-being of young children.
The jury awarded damages of $3 million and found punitive damages are also warranted. It will now work on that decision. In a statement to ABC News, a Meta spokesperson says, quote, "We respectfully disagree with the verdict and are evaluating our legal options." It is the second landmark verdict against social media this week. Yesterday, a jury in New Mexico found Meta liable for endangering children and misleading users about the safety of its platforms. Meta says it's appealing. Iran carrying out fresh strikes today in the Gulf and targeting Israel. And despite President Trump announcing yesterday that Iran wants to make a deal, Iranian state TV announced Tehran has rejected a U.S. 15-point ceasefire plan and issued its own demands.
They're laying out some of their conditions right now, and they include a complete end to all the hostilities right now, which they call aggression and assassinations by the enemy. They also want to ensure that the war does not restart after it ends. And they're calling for repayments, reparations for the war damages caused by these strikes over the last several weeks by the U.S. and Israel.
ABC's Karen Travers on Wall Street. Stocks are up this hour. You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. Food costs are going up, and the public is moving towards cheaper and nutrient-rich foods. Associate Professor and Nutrition Specialist at the Utah State Extension, Carrie Durward, joins me now live. Carrie, thanks for being with me.
Thanks for having me.
So first of all, what kind of food trends do we start to see when food costs are up like this?
Yeah, so typically when food costs go up or, we're feeling financial strain in other ways, we are going to make changes like looking for sales, switching to lower cost brands like store brands. We're going to dine out less, and we're not going to buy as many of kind of the non-essential foods. So things more like sweets or snacks will kind of be the first to be cut.
So how has this kind of evolved over time? I mean, how have we changed up the types of foods we buy based on what the economy is like?
Yeah, so as the economy gets worse for people, then they tend to buy less food overall, and the types of foods that they buy changes. So typically we're still going to buy things like bread and milk, even if the price is going up. But we might not splurge on foods that we don't see as an important part of our diet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Vegetables, meat right now are both pretty highly priced. Are those kind of the first things that go as well?
Yeah, so there's a little bit more what we call price elasticity on meat, right, where people feel like it's an important part of their dinner, and so they're willing to accept, higher and higher prices. Typically, people will be switching to less expensive cuts of meat or types of meat before they will just stop buying meat altogether. Vegetables is a big one. People see that as more of a nice to have than a have to have. And I would encourage people to think about some of our vegetables that are nearly always pretty low cost. So things like white potatoes, onions, cabbage, things like that are nearly always going to be a good deal, and you're going to get a lot of nutrition from your buck.
And do we still get the same kind of nutrition when we buy things like frozen vegetables or canned vegetables that might be less expensive than the fresh vegetables?
Great question. So frozen vegetables are nearly 100% the same as fresh vegetables. So they are a great option. If they're on sale and you have room to stock up, do it. We've got lots of great recipes about how to use them on our nutrition website. Canned vegetables, although we do lose some of the nutrients that are more fragile when we process them, things like vitamin C, some of the B vitamins, other things are still in there, and they're still a better option than like no vegetables at all, right? So my canned peaches are still a good source of vitamin A. They're still a good source of fiber. And so those are another good way to make sure that we're getting in our fruits and vegetables when money's tight.
Yeah, just one final question for you. When money is tight, do we tend to turn to things like mac and cheese that maybe aren't as healthy for us?
Yeah, so when money's tight, we definitely see an uptick in things that we think of as kind of like hard times foods. So things like ramen, mac and cheese, etc. And those aren't necessarily unhealthy options. They tend to be lower in fiber. And so I would just encourage people, those frozen veggies that you got at the store, toss some of those into the water as you're cooking your pasta or your noodles, and your mac and cheese or your ramen instantly so much more nutritious for you.
I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being with me.
Thanks for having me.
Dr. Carrie Durward is an associate professor and nutrition specialist at the Utah State Extension. Let's get you up to date on the drive, traffic, and weather together. It is brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Tito?
In Tooele County, a fatal accident has caused a road closure on eastbound Mid-Valley Highway at Parachute Park Lane in Erta, and delays remain in South Ogden on Highway 89. Crews are working to fix a traffic light being out at Skyline Drive. This is causing delays in both directions back towards Bonneville High School. Don't miss the Rocky Mountain Gun Show at the Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy, March 28th and 29th. Get 500 rounds of 9mm ammo for just $85. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. I've got 84 hot degrees today, mostly sunny skies. We could rival the all-time March high yet again. 65 tomorrow. That's almost 20 degrees cooler, mostly sunny skies and a cool northwest breeze. 68, mostly cloudy skies on your Friday, mostly cloudy. Partly cloudy, 77 on Saturday. Sunday, back to 80 degrees, partly cloudy skies. We then dip it to 77, mostly cloudy on Monday. Next Tuesday, cooler, 64, and what do you know? A chance for showers. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunshine and 77 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets. They're in good shape today. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. You can feel the spring in the air. As a matter of fact, we've been feeling the spring in the air all winter long. But as the season genuinely changes, it's time to make your reservation at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, Hotel Park City, and downtown Salt Lake City. And don't forget, quite a few great events are just around the corner, including some holidays. We'll have a lot of visitors in Salt Lake City before long, and it's time to make your reservation at the downtown location, 275 South West Temple. And of course, up in the mountains, it is beautiful. There's still some skiing going on. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is right there at Hotel Park City. The best meal you have ever had awaits you at Ruth's Chris. Whether it's steaks, whether it's poultry, whether it's seafood, the side dishes, the desserts, you're going to love Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, downtown Salt Lake City and Hotel Park City.
Let's retrofit and renovate all buildings before it's too late. 45 water pipes and power lines to keep things flowing and get back online. EIGONE. Let's work together to get ready. We don't have to be scared. Visit earthquakes.utah.gov to prepare.
Brought to you by Envision Utah.
Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes in new inventory every day. Then they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. So you're invited to visit the movie show Friday 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
Are your investments in the right accounts? What's best, traditional or Roth? Are you receiving all available tax deductions? Are you paying as little in tax as you can? These are all questions you can't afford to get wrong. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth, and in many cases, it's not what you make, but it's what you keep that makes the real difference. Trajan Wealth and Trajan Tax work closely together exclusively. No more guessing about whether you should do a Roth conversion, or if maxing out your 401k is really the best option. Our nationally recognized fiduciary advisors and CPA team work in tandem to make sure your tax strategy works with your investment strategy. We'll even do your tax preparation. One team, one strategy. Isn't it time for a second opinion? Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
It's only getting more popular. It's K-pop Demon Hunters. The movie is so popular, in fact, that it's getting 2 different meals at McDonald's, one for the Saja Boys and one for Huntrix. Each comes with a photo card of the band members, a common practice with the K-pop albums, and a card that features a QR code for bonus content. The Saja Boys meal is breakfast with special spicy sauce. The Huntrix meal comes with ramen-flavored shaker fries and 2 new sauces. They're available March 31st. Watching Utah's Money. It's not a good time to flip homes. Real estate data firm Adams says that the typical home flip only made $65,000 in profit last year. That's a 25.5% return on investment. Roughly 297,000 single-family homes and condos were flipped last year. The nonprofit organization Environmental Working Group has released information on what it calls the Dirty Dozen. These are the foods found with the most pesticides and forever chemicals. They include peaches, plums, strawberries, grapes, spinach, and apples. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 360 points, about 0.75%, sitting at 46,483. S&P up by 47 points. The NASDAQ up by nearly a full percent, up 210 points.
This weekly tax tip is brought to you by the Utah Association of Certified Public Accountants. Here's CEO Susan Spears.
Here's what many people are getting wrong with their income taxes. Most of us fill out a W-4 once and never look at it again. In 2026, many taxpayers will see changes. There are new deductions for overtime and tip income plus other changes. If your withholding doesn't reflect those changes, one of 2 things can happen. You either give the IRS an interest-free loan all year, or you get hit with a surprise tax bill in filing season. If new deductions lower your tax bill by $3,000, but your withholding never changes, that's about $250 a month coming out of your paycheck that you actually didn't owe. The UACPA suggests that now's the time for a W-4 checkup.
Get the most out of your income tax preparation when you hire a licensed CPA. Visit uacpa.org to find a CPA that's right for you. And check out new tax tip videos by following on social media at Talk to Your CPA.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU. Love where you bank. What's happening, Tito?
Starting to see some congestion on I-15. This is northbound between 3300 South and 2700 South in Salt Lake. Also, delays remain in Weber County on Highway 89. Crews still working to fix a traffic light being out at Skyline Drive. Delays remain in both directions back towards Bonneville High School. If your roof needs repair or replacement, do it now during SNS Roofing's huge spring sale. Flexible financing options available. Get the best value on the highest quality roofing job. Get a quote today at snsroofingutah.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Calling for a high of 84 toasty degrees. That could break the all-time record high for the month of March for the 3rd time in the last 7 days. Mostly sunny skies with a little bit of a breeze today. We'll go cooler tomorrow, 65, 68 mostly cloudy by Friday. from the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And a lot of sunshine, 77 degrees downtown.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time, 12:30. KSL's top story this hour. The U.S. Army is raising the enlistment age to 42 and is getting reaction from veterans here in Utah. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera is live with that story. Eric?
Maria, that new age limit up from 35 is meant to open the door to more recruits, especially those with experience or specialized skills. Utah Department of Veterans Affairs Director Terry Scow joined the Army during Vietnam. I asked him what he thinks.
The Army is a big organization, everything from cyber war specialists to infantry. I think it depends on what the job is or going to have to do, and if they've got special skills, why not?
And when I asked him whether he would have been a better soldier at 20 or 40, he told me for him, younger was better due to the physical demands of the infantry. Still, he says if someone can meet the standards and bring valuable skills, it's a smart move to give them a shot. Live, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Classes are back in session at BYU Hawaii after devastating floods struck the islands. In a statement, the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints says the hardest hit areas are the North Shore on Oahu and the islands of Maui and Molokai. Church says it's working with the community to meet the most urgent needs and to start cleaning up. University of Utah fans are lamenting the demise of the spring football scrimmage, but some officials say it was canceled for a good reason. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi reports.
The spring football game had become a long-standing tradition for Utah and a chance to honor the legacies of Ty Jordan and Aaron Lowe, two former players who were victims of gun violence. But the game is canceled, and Josh Furlong, KSL.com sports director, says the games had become fertile grounds for coaches to swipe players from other teams, even though the transfer portal was closed.
Players can now kind of unenroll and then just enroll at a new school, even though it's not a transfer portal, but they do it as kind of a walk-on at their new school.
Also, the starters don't usually play in the spring game, which makes it a glorified scrimmage, and it counts as one of the 15 practices allowed by the NCAA. The U is still planning a fan event for April 18th. Tammy Kikuchi, KSL News Radio.
50 different Jersey Mike's locations are partnering with the 2026 Special Olympics USA Games. All sales made today at the select locations will go towards the organization. Sandwich Chain is hoping to break last year's record donation of $30 million. Officials for the 2034 Winter Games are sharing what they learned while attending the Winter Games in Italy this year. CEO of Utah 2034, Brad Wilson, says the games will be much bigger than they were in 2002 and even bigger than they were in Italy this year.
Italy had 1.3 million tickets. We have 2.9 million tickets to our games, and our games are 40% bigger. So our challenge is how do we host a much bigger Olympics in the same venues we did in 2002.
Wilson says Utah's legacy from the 2002 games is really advantageous. The state has taken care of the venues built and has slowly expanded over the years. KSL's top national stories. The back and forth over DHS funding continues in the Senate, and if they don't agree to something soon, it will have to wait until after the 2-week scheduled recess.
The Senate's top Democrat says his party has made its latest counteroffer. Chuck Schumer says Democrats will continue insisting on reforms at ICE and the Border Patrol.
Reforms that police departments across America follow every day.
Top Senate Republican John Thune noted that between last fall's shutdown and the one now underway, most DHS employees have reported to work without the promise of a paycheck for more than 80 days since the start of the fiscal year.
It's no wonder TSA agents are quitting in droves. Anyone would be.
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
The war in Iran is driving up the price of jet fuel. Aixa Diaz for AAA says that this will also make airfare more expensive, but there are ways to save.
Think of off days. So I know nobody really wants to fly on a Tuesday or Wednesday, but those are the cheapest days to travel. So if you can maybe do a week-long vacation this summer from Tuesday to Tuesday or Wednesday to Wednesday, perhaps you're going to save some money that way.
We will go more in depth on how travel is affected by the war later on Midday. Keep KSL with you for more on that. Other national stories KSL is following. It's been nearly 2 months, and there's still no sign of Nancy Guthrie. Savannah Guthrie sat down with the fellow NBC host, Oda Cobb, to talk about the case. Now, for an emotional interview where she said she's been in agony. More from ABC's Trevor Ault.
We have seen her so frequently on Instagram posting videos, her and her siblings
truly begging the public for information to try to bring her mother home. And now, more than 50 days since her mother's disappearance, it is clear that she still believes someone out there has information that could help return Nancy Guthrie.
The FBI is still looking for that masked person who disabled the security cameras at Guthrie's home. First look traffic. Let's check in with Tito Nani.
No delays on our major valley freeways, I-15, 215, and I-80, all trouble-free halfway through the 12 o'clock hour. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top local story. U.S. Army is raising the enlistment age to 42 and loosening restrictions on marijuana use. We've had some local reaction. KSL News Time, 12:37. If you are planning on fleeing from the Washington County Sheriff's Office anytime soon, you may have another thing coming, the grappler. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott has the story.
This revolution in police pursuit technology is a safer alternative to spike strips or pit maneuvers where the car may lose control. Instead, the grappler device is mounted on the front of the chase vehicle and, according to St. George News, when deployed, wraps itself around the vehicle's rear wheel and axle, stopping the vehicle in just seconds. It doesn't damage the cruiser like a pit maneuver might, it won't require an officer to step in the same road as a high-speed pursuit to deploy a spike strip, and it is unlikely to cause a spin-out or rollover where civilians and their vehicles may be hit. Cameron Elliott, KSL News Radio.
A new survey from AAA finds majority of drivers struggle with glare from headlights when driving at night. 3/4 of those people say it's been getting worse over the past decade. AAA spokesperson Julian Paredes says part of the problem is the increasing popularity of xenon lights, which are brighter. They may be helpful for the owner, but not for others on the road.
But we're finding that it's also a little bit less helpful in other scenarios, and especially if cars are in front of you, that just means, having really bright lights just means that you're kind of impeding the visibility for other drivers.
He says another issue is more people are opting for taller vehicles that shine their headlights right into the vehicle in front of them. Salt Lake City Council members gave plans to close roads around the Salt Lake Temple a green light for the open house next year. The vote was unanimous. The open house in 2027 is expected to draw millions of people to downtown Salt Lake City. The Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints will pitch in $2.3 million to help pay for those road closures. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Here's Tito Nani.
A road closure remains in Tooele County. It's on eastbound Mid-Valley Highway at Parachute Park Lane in Erta. No delays, however, on I-15 going both directions between Provo and Ogden, and I-80, I-215, and the 21st South Freeway remain trouble-free at the moment. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Abnormally warm temperatures on the docket again today, forecasting a high of 84 degrees. That could rival the all-time March high, which was set last Saturday, March 21st. We'll make a run at it again today. 65 tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, much cooler. We'll go to 68 and mostly cloudy skies by Friday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly sunny, 77 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And coming up on Midday, we'll hear more about pest control and how the season is ramping up early this year due to this warm winter. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Imagine a world where you can leave the house and take your home Wi-Fi speeds with you. Thanks to Xfinity Mobile, it's not just a fantasy. Just picture it. You're at your kid's soccer practice streaming the other game in 4K. Just like that. In the airport, download a cozy family comedy in a snap with Wi-Fi power boost. What if the places you had to be felt more like everywhere you wanted to be? That's the magic of Xfinity Mobile. Reliable Wi-Fi and 5G when you need it. Xfinity. Imagine that. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Visit xfinitymobile.com to learn more. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus regular rates for 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience, More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of 2/10/26. Taxes, fees, extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Xfinity. Imagine that.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
KSL News Time, 1245. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives star Taylor Frankie Paul is now being accused of domestic violence for a 3rd time by her ex-boyfriend Dakota Mortensen for something that happened in 2024. I'm KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson.
Second, 2 people are dead after a crash in Tooele. Let's see if those roads are still closed with traffic and weather together.
They do remain closed. However, our valley freeways remain in good shape for the most part. In Utah County, though, we're starting to see some congestion build up on eastbound Pioneer Crossing just before the I-15 interchange. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Record-breaking warmth likely today, cooler tomorrow. I'm Matt Johnson.
And it's already 77 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. A jury in Los Angeles returning a verdict today against Google and Meta in a social media case centered on the mental health of one plaintiff.
On the 9th day of deliberating, the jury finding both Meta and YouTube are liable in a first-of-its-kind lawsuit that could tee up many more such suits. The jury finding the platforms that create Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are negligent in the design or operation of their platforms, causing harm to a 20-year-old woman who says her use of social media as a child addicted her to the technology and led to mental health issues. The jury awarding the woman $3 million. Meta saying in a statement it disagrees with the verdict and is evaluating its legal options. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
YouTube also in a statement says it plans to appeal. It follows another landmark case this week in New Mexico. A jury found Meta liable for endangering children and misleading users about the safety of its platforms. This is ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The warm winter and increasingly hot March has pests coming out sooner than usual. Chief Operations Officer of Mountain West Pest Control, Matthew Stuckey, and I spoke about how the warm weather is impacting business.
We're about 2 months ahead of schedule from where we would normally be at this time, which means our call volumes are higher. We're seeing things especially bad with wasps, elm seed bugs, box elder bugs. Mosquitoes are already out and rampant. And then, like you had mentioned, rats and other rodents that fall under like our wildlife category, such as raccoons, moles, voles, things of that nature, are already, out and about, where we wouldn't anticipate this for another month and a half to 2 months normally.
Wow. What is the most prevalent call that you're getting, and what are you seeing the most?
Yeah, I would say that overall it's wasps and our box elder bugs. Again, just because of that quick turn and higher temperatures, we're already seeing adults out there where normally this time of year at best we would see some of the babies just beginning to come out. But when it's in an adult stage, that means those adults are then out laying additional eggs and further producing. And so we recommend as people see those things to call a pest professional. Obviously, we would love it if they called Mountain West, but any pest professional to allow them to handle these things early so it doesn't become a bigger problem for them.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Why is the early prevention the way to go?
Early prevention is always the way to go, simply because of that word, prevention. So it's much easier to prevent something big from happening than to go back and to remedy a large problem that has come and is currently taking place in your home. Obviously, just common sense would say, like, it's much easier to get rid of a single rat than it is a few dozen, right? The same applies to any bug or any pest pressure that you're going to see in your home. Now, there are a lot of things that you can do personally before you have to go out and spend money. So you see a small wasp nest up on your home, get that knocked down, get rid of it. Don't allow those wasps to, build a place where they want to come back to and get larger and larger. That's really important. Other things that you could do naturally in your home is just try and find ways where you're not creating harborages for pests and or rodents. So things like wood piles or large piles of leaves or grass clippings, things where these bugs can really make a home for themselves, we've seen creates a large problem in the long run.
That is Matthew Stuckey with Mountain West Pest Control. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Tito?
A road closure remains in place from a fatal accident earlier this morning. It's in Tooele County on eastbound Mid-Valley Highway at Parachute Park Lane in Erta. Throughout the Wasatch Front, though, freeways look to be in good shape right now. No issues to report on I-15, 215, and I-80. Looking for dinner with a view? The Roof in downtown Salt Lake City serves unforgettable Utah-inspired cuisine 10 floors above the city. Reserve your table today at theroofslc.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. More record warmth in this 7-day. 84 today is the forecast. Mostly sunny skies. We could tie or break the all-time March high, which was set just last Saturday. 65, mostly sunny skies for tomorrow, much cooler, breezy. 68, mostly cloudy skies on Friday. Saturday, partly cloudy, 77, that could break a record. More record warmth on Sunday, 80 degrees, partly cloudy skies. We got a 77 on Monday, also a record. Mostly cloudy skies there, give way to showers on Tuesday. Potential pattern change with a high of 64. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, a lot of sunshine in downtown Salt Lake City and 79 degrees. This 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. A quick check of the markets. They are in great shape today. A complete update of your money news is coming up next. Okay, be honest. So how many times have you lost more than 20 pounds and have just had it come right back? For many of us, that's happened more than once. And in fact, that is the number one concern of people about starting a weight loss program. It's not losing the weight, it's about gaining it back later. I've been telling you for the last couple of years how I've lost more than 40 pounds with the help of Salt Lake City Fat Loss, and they truly do things differently. I mean, not only do you not have to spend a lot of money on prepackaged foods and breakfast bars and things like that, this is a doctor-developed program. It provides whole foods, tells you how to eat whole foods, real food from the grocery store. You don't have to buy anything special. And you can lose 20 to 40 pounds in 60 days. It's a 60-day program. But more importantly, they've got all of the resources for you to make sure that you learn how to keep that weight off. They have a great app. It keeps you accountable and, again, gives you those resources and recipes that you need. Find out if you're eligible for the program. Go to slcfatloss.com. Keep that weight off for good. slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
Every day on your way home, you pass it. That one lawn so thick and deep green, it belongs in the big leagues. It sets the bar for the entire street, making every other lawn look like it's still waiting for a wake-up call. Look for the sign of a winner. Big League Lawns. Now, it's your turn. Level the playing field and get the results your home deserves. Go home to a Big League Lawn.
Are mosquitoes still ruining your nights? The kids are finally outside, the string lights are glowing, and the swatting starts. Don't let mosquitoes steal your summer. Call Skeeter Eater, a Utah company built for backyards like yours. Our family-friendly treatments and smart mosquito traps keep the fun going long after sunset. Fewer bites, happier nights, and peace of mind that lasts all season. Book now and get $40 off your first treatment at SkeeterEater.com. Skeeter Eater. Stop the bites. Start the fun.
My friend Joey means well.
Always remember that the early bird gathers no moss.
But he gets a little confused.
You know, you can't make a silk purse out of a wooden nickel.
Like Joey, many of us can be confused when it comes time to plan for retirement. When to take Social Security, how to use that 401k, what about the stock market, taxes, and Medicare? Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management can help to simplify retirement planning. His goal is to have you walk into retirement with confidence, not worry, and to address the number one concern among retirees today, the fear of running out of money. Call Galileo Wealth today for a no-cost, no-obligation meeting to talk about the details of your retirement. 385-247-7000. It's 385-247-7000. Or online, GalileoWealth.com. And remember,
one man's trash is thicker than water. Of course, water's not thick at all. It's watery.
My name is Ariel. When I arrived in the U.S. at 19, I struggled to find job opportunities without my high school diploma. My entire life changed when I took a chance and got my high school diploma at age 22. Everything I have, my education, my career, my marriage, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and my teachers. They were with me every step of the way, helping with my English and math, making sure I push through all the challenges.
Ariel, your success proves that what I'm doing as a teacher has real meaning.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
Education was the key that unlocked all my opportunities.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Mattel is unveiling its new Masters of the Universe collection ahead of the live-action film expected to come out this summer.
And the Masters of the Universe.
It includes action figures, Barbies, Hot Wheels, and Uno cards. Expect to start seeing them on shelves. Watching Utah's money, General Motors is investing big in South Korea. The company is planning a $600 million investment to upgrade manufacturing facilities and products in the country. Reuters reports it comes after the company actually got a government rescue package in 2018 to stay in Asia. Roku's new $3 ad-free streaming service is coming to Amazon Prime Video. It's called Howdy, and this is the first expansion of the service outside the Roku ecosystem. It has almost 10,000 hours of content and is reportedly meant to complement other streaming services, not compete with them. United Airlines is trying to make long flights more comfortable. It's launching something called the Relax Row. It's a special set of 3 economy seats with leg rests that can be raised or lowered, transforming the seats into a couch or bed. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 275 points, sitting at 46,374. S&P up by 29 points, and the NASDAQ, it's up by 124 points.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you spend half your day walking or standing while working? If you have foot, knee, or back problems, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming on.
And how about working more comfortably, like Dennis?
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. I could do my job and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow is going to be. It's going to be positive.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
You deserve a home that's truly your sanctuary. Why are you waiting? Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen helps turn someday into today. A space that works and feels like you. Because design and build live under one roof, your remodel experience stays organized. From the first discovery consultation to the final walkthrough, with one team from start to finish. You deserve a home that you can truly be happy in. And that's possible right now. A clear, structured timeline keeps guesswork out of your kitchen or bath project, and it starts with your budget and a fixed price. Then the detailed plan begins with smart and stylish selections, so you know exactly what to expect. Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen is built on integrity and customer focus, and that shows up in the little things, clean job sites, and proactive updates that keep you fully in the loop. Back nationally and 3 locally owned Wasatch Front locations. Schedule a consultation at dreammaker-remodel.com. That's dreammaker-remodel.com. Enhancing lives, improving homes. dreammaker-remodel.com.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house, whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed. Call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Respiratory virus season is quickly approaching, meaning we'll see more flu, COVID, and RSV in our community. The good news is vaccines are available that will help prevent these infections and keep people healthy. For flu and COVID, everyone aged 6 months and older are recommended to be vaccinated to help protect ourselves and our families against serious illness. Fall remains the best time to be vaccinated. Respiratory viruses circulate year-round, but peak late fall through winter. Your doctor can recommend which vaccines are best for you and your family.
Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. Tito?
Our major valley freeways remain in great shape as we approach the 1 o'clock hour. No issues to report on I-15, 215, and I-80. However, down in Utah County, we're seeing congestion on eastbound Pioneer Crossing just before the I-15 interchange. Create your floral sanctuary with Olson's Greenhouse. Locally grown, premium quality flowers, the perfect complement to any space. Cheerful flowers for porches, patios, containers, and beds. Visit Olson's Instagram or ogg.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're looking at record-breaking temperatures today, a high of at least 84 degrees. Right now, 79 degrees downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Secret Lives of Mormon Wife star Taylor Frankie Paul now being accused of domestic violence for a third time by her ex-boyfriend for something that happened in 2024.
So investigators are actively working together and verify information. They're in the process of interviewing all those involved.
The time is 1 o'clock on Wednesday, March 25th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, domestic violence in Utah. We will get the latest on this investigation from KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson and have an in-depth conversation on this kind of violence with an expert. Also this hour, a major airline CEO says you better buy your plane tickets now or risk a major price increase. But some travel experts say there's more to the story.
They're able to increase their pricing without too much backlash. Like, people can feel okay about it. They're not feeling okay about it, but it's a time that they can do it.
We'll have much more on this coming up at 1:30. But first, our top stories. 2 people were killed in a crash on a state road in Tooele County. Utah Highway Patrol says a Chevy Corvette was hit by a semi turning left onto SR 179 in Erta. Both passengers inside that Chevy were killed. There will not be a spring football game at the University of Utah this year. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi reports on the reasons why.
The spring football game had become a tradition and a way to honor Aaron Lowe and Ty Jordan, 2 former players who were victims of gun violence. Though the transfer portal was closed, other coaches used the game as a way to spy on prospects. Players would unenroll from the U and then enroll as a walk-on player at the other school. Also, the scrimmage counted as one of the 15 practices allowed by the NCAA. For fans, the game wasn't completely satisfying because the starters often didn't even play.
Other schools are also planning to suspend their spring games. The U is planning a fan event for April 18th. Our top national story from ABC News. A Los Angeles jury has found Meta and YouTube liable in a landmark civil trial which accused the companies of intentionally designing addictive products. ABC News legal consultant Bernarda Villanola has more.
This was a test case in the sense that people and attorneys were waiting to see what would happen in this case to determine how far they will move forward on other cases. So in terms of where do we go from here, very clear that Meta is going to appeal this. So we may see that this verdict is going to be tied up in the appellate system for a long time, for many years. And we know that Meta has the money in order to drag this out. So that's going to have a huge effect.
In a statement to ABC News, a Meta spokesperson said that they respectfully disagree with the verdict and are evaluating their legal options. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 272 points. That's more than 0.5%, sitting at 46,397. S&P up by 29. The NASDAQ up by 120 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Here's Tito Nani.
Road closures do remain in place due to that fatal accident this morning in Tooele County. It's on eastbound Mid-Valley Highway in Erta. Across the Wasatch Front on our major freeways, they remain in great shape with no issues to report. With nutrients blended for greener, healthier turf in our local soil, IFA's 4+ Lawn Care program is the ultimate lawn owner power move. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
A lot of sunshine today with a high of 84 degrees. Tomorrow it's going to be a lot cooler. The temperature dropping about 20 degrees, so we'll have a high of about 65. But those temperatures climbing again over the next few days, and we'll reach 80 again by Sunday. Right now, 79 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
A family office is a team built to handle the 3 biggest financial responsibilities a family faces: wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning. Most firms only manage your investments and refer the rest out, hoping everyone stays aligned. At Trajan, we built something different. Your wealth, tax planning, and estate planning are handled together inside one firm, under one roof. There's no guessing whether your CPA, advisor, and estate attorney are truly in sync, because our team works together every day on your behalf. When your financial life becomes more complex, your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. New domestic violence claims today against Secret Lives of Mormon Wife star Taylor Frankie Paul. This is the third accusation against her, coming just days after ABC canceled her season of The Bachelorette, thanks largely in part because of all the heat she's been getting for alleged abuse. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson has been following this story. She joins me now live in studio to give us the latest. So, Heather, what's this new accusation?
So this accusation just recently came to light, but it's actually based on something that happened back in 2024. West Jordan Police Sergeant Adam Julian told me everything that they can talk about at this point, which is still early in the investigation.
The West Jordan Police Department is currently investigating an incident involving Taylor Frankie Paul and Dakota Mortensen. The allegations were reported to us at the end of February of this year, and detectives have reviewed video believed to be recorded in early to mid-2024. So investigators are actively working to gather and verify information. They're in the process of interviewing all those involved. At this time, no charges have been filed as the investigation remains ongoing. So we do recognize there's a significant public interest in this case. However, it's being handled in the same manner as any other investigations. Our procedures and standards are applied consistently and without exception.
NBC is reporting that Mortensen brought this 2024 incident to light now after being referred to by Draper Police, which is the department investigating his newest claim against her from last month.
Okay, but yes, this is the third claim of domestic violence. So kind of walk us through the background.
So these two have a really complicated background. They've been dating on and off, and Mortensen is the father of her youngest son. And friends, even on the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, have described their relationship as toxic for years. So we know about this incident in 2023, which is the subject of a viral video that was recently released by TMZ. And I'll play you a clip of that, but just a warning, it could be triggering for some people.
Your daughter is right here. Oh my gosh. Oh my. You're
You
no,
did this!
No, you. Stop throwing stuff and help your daughter. Help your daughter. Stop screaming at me.
So since that video emerged, The Bachelorette was canceled by ABC, and I should note that this is something that she has already been convicted for. This is from 2023, and she was convicted for aggravated assault because it was domestic violence in front of a child, as you heard on the video. And that was just the first incident. We've always known about this. It was always on the show that she was convicted for this. But now we've learned of a recent incident in Draper that happened at the end of February, and we're not sure the details of that, but they are investigating in Draper. And then since that incident happened, we know Mortensen has now gone to West Jordan Police with video from his 2024 incident. We also know that he's since filed a protective order against her, and then they have a hearing for that coming up on April 7th.
Okay, that audio is just super upsetting. Now, I understand you talked to the district attorney about this. What did he have to say?
So when she pleaded guilty to aggravated assault in the 2023 incident, which is what that video was based on, she entered a plea in abeyance. So that means it would be categorized as a Class A misdemeanor if she was evaluated for substance abuse and domestic violence, and she completed recommended treatment and avoided run-ins with the law for 3 years. So now that this has happened, Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill sent us a statement saying they're screening the latest allegations to decide what charges, if any, should be filed. And he says if charges are filed, they could be enhanced because of that prior plea in abeyance.
All right, Heather, thanks for the update. That is KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson. Well, let's go a bit more in depth on these kinds of domestic violence situations with Kim Wolf of the Utah Domestic Violence Coalition. Kim, thanks for being with me.
You're very welcome.
Okay, now obviously Taylor Frankie Paul is an innocent person until proven guilty in a court of law. Now that aside, though, how common is it for a woman to be the abuser in a domestic violence case?
I'm afraid my answer is going to be a non-answer for multiple reasons. The CDC reports that female perpetrators of domestic violence, they're reporting around 14%. But if you look at some of the hotline numbers, self-reported male victims of domestic violence, that's tracking around 30%.
So in cases like this, how important is documentation of the situation?
Documentation of any crime, especially an ongoing crime, documentation is absolutely important. And I would start, even if you don't intend to file charges down the road, the documentation, whether it be for a therapist, whether it be for law enforcement, whether it be for a order of protection, that can never hurt your situation.
So otherwise it just becomes like a he said, she said, right?
Absolutely. And, any type of crime with nuances, it does become complicated. So any type of documentation, recordings, any type of third-party confirmation of the abuse would be extremely helpful.
With this being such a high-profile case, I mean, in most of these situations, we've told people to trust the victims when they talk about these kinds of things. But in this high-profile case, a lot of commenters online have said, hey, this isn't a black and white situation, and they just really don't know who to trust. Kind of talk to us about that.
Well, we do have to, have a little asterisk by this situation. People are either maybe a little bit soft on celebrities or maybe unduly harsh. So something like this situation where there is the, belief of there being two sides to the story, people are going to chime in. And I think sometimes, yes, this case is bringing a lot of awareness to this situation, especially for male victims of domestic violence. However, the court of public opinion can be extremely dangerous and triggering for anyone who's in a similar situation.
So remind us what resources are available for victims of domestic violence, women, children, and men.
Well, I'm so happy you said men, because the same resources that are available for women and families are also available for men. Our hotline, the 24/7 hotline, providing services throughout the state, that is always going to be available. Also shelter for families and for men. But an additional resource that a lot of people don't think about is abuser intervention services. So whether you are a man or a woman and you're looking to change problematic behavior, we can also help find resources for that as well.
I have just about a minute left here, but Kim, what are your concerns when you hear of situations like that? What should we all think about in a case that is so publicized?
Well, certainly a victim is probably going to see this situation. He or she is going to hear the debate in public, and that could really, stymie their interest in reaching out to support, whether it be family or friends or even the judicial system. So in the situation where there's so much public information and we're seeing people kind of being armchair quarterbacks, saying it's a he said, she said, saying that, it's black, it's not black and white. This can be extremely hard for someone who understands that they are a victim of domestic violence, but then seeing people and the story being minimized by people.
Kim, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being with me.
You're very welcome.
Kim Wolf is with the Utah Domestic Violence Coalition. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Every day here in Utah, people turn to KSL News Radio for one simple reason: trust. Trust for our reporters, hosts, our coverage, and trust in the businesses heard right here. I've met so many of our listeners over the years, and they'll tell you KSL is part of their daily routine, in the car, at work, at home. And when they hear your business here, it carries the weight of that trust. It isn't just another ad. It's a recommendation coming from a reliable source. When you advertise on KSL News Radio, you reach a loyal, highly engaged audience who listens intentionally. They show up for breaking news, accurate information, and meaningful conversations. And because of that connection, they respond. And when you pair our on-air credibility with digital tools like display advertising, social media, streaming audio, search, geo-targeting, and retargeting, you get a full funnel strategy that works and reaches the right people at the right time. Get marketing that truly moves the needle. Partner with the voice Utah trusts. KSL. Learn more at kslnewsradio.com/advertise.
Technology used to help handle controlled burns here in Utah could soon have a new purpose: controlling avalanches. While we haven't had many run-ins with avalanches this season, thanks largely to a lower snowpack, there have been a few. And UDOT is still going into the canyons to set off controlled avalanches, all with the goal of keeping those areas safer for skiers, snowboarders, and backcountry visitors. Now, when UDOT does set off avalanches, they do it by dropping explosives from a helicopter, setting off a charge with a tower, or by firing a World War II-era howitzer cannon. Now, they're talking with companies about potentially using drones to drop explosives instead. Carrick Detweiler is the CEO of Drone Amplified.
Yeah, so it carries an explosive and it uses electronic ignition system that is actually quite safe. So there's no way to set it off unless we send a bunch of very specific commands to it, and only when it's in a certain location. So basically, it's carrying explosive, gets out to the location, and only when it's at the right location, altitude, and everything is verified, can it drop it and set it off. And these are similar explosives to that which is used by ski patrollers, but will carry backpacks of some of the smaller explosives and use that to trigger the slides. They also use helicopters to actually carry these out and drop them in locations as well.
He tells KSL News Radio's Adam Small that they already use drones here in Utah to set prescribed burns, and they use the same technology to set off avalanches in Alaska. He says there's a lot more specificity when using drones for these controlled avalanches.
So it's actually, we can do air blasts. So we can basically precisely time when it's going to go off based on a number of factors. So it's actually going to go off before it hits the snow, and that's one of the things is that these avalanches, you can actually trigger them more effectively if the explosive goes off, 10 feet above the snow versus being embedded in the snow, which absorbs a lot of that energy.
UDOT's John Gleason tells Adam Small that this kind of technology could very well come to Utah in the next few years. But he says there's a lot of work still to do before that happens.
It's an interesting time, and we're seeing these technologies develop leaps and bounds every year. And so it is absolutely conceivable that we will have that type of avalanche mitigation technology here in the next few years. We are working with the policies and the regulations that involve using drones on roads like the Cottonwoods and those areas where people are traveling. Alaska has a little bit more of a unique circumstance because they're more remote, and so some of those roads that they're using the drones on, they don't see as many people, and so they have a little bit more flexibility with the policies and the regulations.
Gleason says UDOT has already spoken with Drone Amplified, and they're excited to see how these conversations develop.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new, it's inherited. A ring from a grandmother, a necklace tucked away in a drawer, pieces full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jeweler specializes in reimagining family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Duke's on-site jewelers and designers work with you one-on-one to honor the original story while creating something fresh, modern, and uniquely yours. From resetting diamonds into new engagement rings to transforming multiple heirloom pieces into one stunning design, every project is crafted with care, precision, and intention. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, where old stories become new treasures. dukesjewelers.com.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Across the valleys, our major freeways remain in great shape. No issues to report on I-15, 215, or I-80. Congestion does remain, however, on eastbound Pioneer Crossing in Lehigh, just before the I-15 junction. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Who is Farm Bureau Financial Services? At our core, we're relationship builders. We're home and auto bundlers, life insurers, farm and ranch protectors, and retirement planners. We're neighbors, community members, and friends. We're the people you can count on now and for years to come. Find a Farm Bureau agent at fbfs.com/protect. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company.
Every skier deserves a boot that's built just for them.
Rob Graham, owner of Dale Boot and Zions Bank client.
Through our relationship with Zions Bank, Dale Boot is thriving. They truly see our business, as I do, through my eyes.
As the #1 small business lender, Zions Bank helps entrepreneurs reach and exceed their goals. Visit your local branch or zionsbank.com/SBA. Equal housing lender.
What's up, Utah? This is Jimmer Fredette. You know, back in the day, Jimmer Mania was all about making big shots. Now it's time for Window Mania. Get $2,500 off when you buy 10 windows or more from Advanced Window Products. Call them today at 801-850-9100. If your old drafty windows are a turnover, costing you money every month, it's time for a game changer. These guys are the home team. They're a local, family-owned company that manufactures their windows right here in Salt Lake City. They're built by Utah for our crazy Utah climate. When you buy from Advanced Window Products, you're buying factory direct. No middleman. That's how you score a winning deal. Their windows are tough on defense, blocking out the heat and the cold, which saves you serious money on your energy bills. And here's the slam dunk. Their lifetime warranty, which even covers accidental glass breakage, that's peace of mind you can't get from the other guys. Get in on Window Mania and tell them Jimmer sent you. Call 801-850-9100 or advancedwindows.com.
Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Iranian state media announcing a complete rejection of the Trump administration's 15-point plan to end the war. While details on the plan are scarce, ABC's Karen Travers says it's a step back for the president's plans towards a ceasefire.
We're told by sources that it addresses Iran's ballistic missile program, the nuclear program, as well as maritime routes. But the president has been expressing some confidence that he could get to a deal by the end of this week. And remember, that was the deadline that he had imposed on Iran with that threat for the United States to strike at Iran's energy infrastructure. He had said that that was a threat for Monday night. He lifted it and extended it by a couple of days. But now it certainly looks like any potential deal is not possible, with Iran rejecting what the administration has put forward.
Let's go more in depth on this now with Dr. Austin Nuppy, director of the Haravi Peace Institute at Utah State University and an expert in Middle Eastern politics and relations. And Dr. Nuppy, let's start with the U.S. demands. We know there's something about Iran's nuclear program and maritime routes, but that's about it right now. So what do you suppose the U.S. might want Iran to do in regards to those?
Right. So the 15-point plan hasn't been released to the public, but we know it includes a couple key provisions. That includes the cessation of proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. That includes uranium enrichment, pausing the development of new medium-range and intercontinental ballistic missiles. It includes reopening the Strait of Hormuz, protecting routes for exports of oil tankers, things like that. May also include provisions about governance related to the Islamic Republic, the theocracy versus the military, though those would be much more detailed, harder to enforce externally. So that's what we know so far.
So we know that Iranian state media have completely rejected this plan, and we've heard that they've laid out some of their own conditions. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so war, as Clausewitz reminds us, war is politics by other means. So it's an armed political negotiation, and so there's going to be offers and counteroffers. The Iranians, their primary aim in the war is to be able to survive U.S. attacks. They don't even need to inflict much damage on U.S. military, even the economy. They need to be able to maintain power and inflict costs in terms of rising energy prices. And so as long as they can do that and they have a reasonable level of public support, i.e. a lack of public protests and opposition to the regime at home, they can continue to do that. There's no reason to settle if they know the U.S. is bound by public opinion trends at home, the price of energy abroad, things like that. This is the first foray in a much longer negotiation.
We understand that some of their conditions include a complete end to all hostilities, a promise the war won't restart, and that the U.S. and Israel pay for the damages caused by the strikes over the last few weeks. Is that a reasonable request? I mean, do you see the U.S. ever agreeing to something like that?
Not absolutely, but we have seen conditions where the U.S. might comply with some of those. The classic example would be reparations, and they're called ex gratia payments for the damage of civilian infrastructure or the death of civilians. When there's civilian casualties, we saw this in Iraq and Afghanistan and elsewhere. The U.S. comes in and often makes restitution for the deaths of civilians. So that may be a part of it, though whole-scale reparations and repayments highly unlikely, especially if it has to do with political or military infrastructure.
So you said that this is just the beginning of the negotiations. Talk about, just for a second, for a while we weren't sure that there were actual negotiations. So is this a good sign?
Yeah, I think it's common for during war, right? States will fight and negotiate at the same time. It's typically not sequenced. It's not like the shooting stops and then you start talking. You fight and talk and fight and talk. And so this may go on for several weeks or several months. The primary problem is trying to find a bargain that both the Iranians and Americans find agreeable. The classic problem here is that you can make a whole bunch of commitments with your talk, but there's no guarantee that your behavior will follow suit, right? If you're the Iranians, the Americans and Israelis may agree to stop hostilities, but there's no guarantee that they won't be attacked again in the future, right? They saw this last summer with the attack on their nuclear infrastructure. And so to have a credible commitment to withhold punishment if the Iranians agree to terms is always the question. There's just massive uncertainty and misperception there. And so whether or not that agreement holds depends on a lot of factors. And it looks like the Pakistanis, Egyptians, and perhaps Turkey are involved in that mediation process. So that's kind of where we are as of this week.
Yeah. This war has largely stayed between Iran, Israel, and the U.S., but you just mentioned it's affecting many other countries. What could the world do to maybe push more for a ceasefire?
Well, it's already a regional war, right? It's affecting the Gulf states as well as the Iraqis and Jordanians. And so it's already a regional conflict. I think any peace negotiation is going to have to bring regional players to the table. And we know this is difficult because the Americans have a very different set of interests than the Israelis or Saudis. We just saw yesterday reporting in the New York Times that the Saudis were encouraging Washington to continue the fight, to continue to weaken the regime. And so it's going to need to include mediation efforts that clearly delineate or separate out what are the interests of Tehran and Washington versus what are the interests of those actors within their coalitions, right, that have both the American side and the Iranian side have members of their coalition that want to spoil a peace agreement, right, or want to create some factionalism. For the Iranians, it's all their proxy groups in places like Lebanon or Iraq. For the Americans, the Israelis and Saudis have very different security interests in the long term than the Americans do. And so it's going to be very tricky to develop a peace plan under those conditions, especially now that it's escalated to a regional war.
Right. Tricky and very complex from what you've described there. It sounds like there's not going to be a quick end to this.
That's right, though. As I think I've told you before, I've studied the Middle East long enough to know that anyone that has confident predictions about the future is a fool. We know that it's a place that lots happens and very little changes. So anyone that tells you otherwise is selling you a bag of goods, I think. So we'll see what happens.
Dr. Austin Nuppy is the director of the Harari Peace Institute at Utah State University.
1:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. Technology used to set controlled fires here in Utah could soon be used to lower avalanche danger as well. Utah currently uses World War II era howitzer cannons, special towers, and helicopter drops to set off avalanches, but they're not talking with companies like Drone Amplified about using drones instead.
It's actually quite safe, so there's no way to set it off unless we send a bunch of very specific commands to it, and only when it's in a certain location.
Drone Amplified CEO Carrick Detweiler says their drones are already being used to trigger avalanches in Alaska. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Iran has rejected President Trump's 15-point peace plan to end the war. Instead, Iranian officials have presented a plan of their own. ABC's Karen Travers is at the White House.
They're laying out some of their conditions right now, and they include a complete end to all the hostilities right now, which they call aggression and assassinations by the enemy. They also want to ensure that the war does not restart after it ends, and they're calling for repayments, reparations for the war damages caused by these strikes over the last several weeks by the U.S. and Israel.
President Trump's plan would have required Iran to give up its missile and nuclear capabilities. And coming up, a high of 84 today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time 1:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
If you don't care about saving 50% off your wireless bill for the same 5G coverage the big guys are charging a fortune for, maybe you care about keeping jobs in America. Pure Talk does. They've pledged to run their entire operation from this country, including all their customer service. Or maybe you care about our nation's veterans. Pure Talk does. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to America's Warrior Partnership, a fantastic organization working hard to prevent veteran suicide. Or maybe you care about closing America's skills gap. Pure Talk does. They're a proud supporter of MicroWorks, They're helping my foundation train the next generation of skilled workers. Don't get me wrong. Saving money's great, and you'll save plenty with Pure Talk. But if you want to be in business with people who share your values, dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Disney's Descendants, Zombies, and Camp Rock Worlds Collide Tour is coming. Celebrate hit songs from the movies, performed live, starring Malachi Barton, Liamani Segura, Dara Renee, Makana Knife, Hudson Stone, Sway Mbatia, Kiara Romero, and Alexandro Bird. More worlds will collide. October 14th at Delta Center. Get tickets Friday, March 27th at 10 a.m. at worldscollidetour.com.
Only one type of burger. For every pallet. Fries are extra. Large in size. We've got the shakes. Going over the brim.
Hey, this is Chris from JCW's. Put a positive, delicious spin on your day at any one of our 5 locations. In Lehigh, American Fork, Provo, South Jordan, or Harriman. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by UCCU. Earned 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Here's Tito Nani.
Road closures remain due to a fatal accident earlier this morning. It's on eastbound Mid-Valley Highway at Parachute Park Lane into Willa County. Across the Wasatch Front, our major freeways remain trouble-free. Looking to connect your kids with nature, flower gardening is hands-on, time together, and memories. Olson's Greenhouse offers perfect plants for families to grow together. For porches, patios, beds, or containers, visit Olson's at ogg.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high of 84 today with mostly sunny skies. Things cool down to the 60s tomorrow and Friday, but then it's back up to the upper 70s and 80s over the weekend. Right now, 79 and fair. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We've talked a lot about the price of gasoline and diesel, but the price of jet fuel is also being affected by the war in Iran. United Airlines CEO recommending travelers buy their airline tickets right now. He told ABC's Alex Stone that ticket prices need to go up by 20% in order to stay profitable right now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of natural with the oil prices going up. But I sat down with United CEO Scott Kirby in a United hangar at LAX under a brand new Boeing 787 Dreamliner yesterday. We talked about a number of things, but some of those being the ticket prices and oil. And Scott Kirby warning that airlines, not just United, but everybody, is going to need to raise ticket prices pretty substantially to offset these oil prices because of the war in Iran. And United is forecasting that oil could go up to $175 a barrel and stay there through 2027. And he says they've got to get ready. This is very serious for the airline industry. If you don't prepare, it can ruin an airline. At current prices, it will cost, and this is if oil doesn't go up even higher, current prices, it'll cost United alone $11 billion more in fuel this year. So he told me this.
The fuel price on its own, at today's price, if it stayed there, the forward curve, by the way, is lower, but if it stays at today's level, is an $11 billion increase in expenses. So what do we do about that? One thing is fares are going up. Fares need to go up about 20% to fully cover that. They're up 15 to 20%. For some perspective, though, inflation from 2019 through 2025 was 25%, but airfares actually went down. So even if they went up 20%, we haven't really fully recovered the last several years of inflation.
And guys, so if fares do go up 20%, he says fewer people are going to travel. So airlines are now beginning to cut about 5% of their flights. They'll do more if they need to. That's going to be primarily their less profitable flights. It's going to be red eyes. It's going to be to cities that don't make money. It's going to be frequency, that if you've got 5 flights a day to a city, maybe you bring it back to 3 flights a day. That he does think that some airlines that are not in strong financial footing, that they may have a tough time getting through this if demand gets weaker. So we could see some impacts there. I did ask him, though, if prices go up 20%, what do you tell customers? What do you tell your friends if they're thinking of traveling spring, summer, fall? What do you do? And he said, you may want to figure it out now.
Buy now. I mean, really, who knows? But if people have asked me, friends, and I told them you should buy now.
Yeah, he says, look, airlines, just United, $11 billion more in fuel this year. He says they can't eat that, so we as consumers are going to have to pay for it, and it's kind of the reality of where we are right now.
So should you buy your tickets now? For some travel advice, I turned to Doug Wren, the president of Wren International, to get his reaction to United's announcement.
Not surprising would be my initial quick response. Airline pricing's not, it's only part of the story, and it makes sense, but airlines don't price on just gas. It's very much demand-based, so they're definitely planning for the future. Magically, prices don't just go up. I mean, people buy their tickets months in advance. It's not surprising that they're preparing the public for this. It just means there's strong demand, which is number one, that they can raise prices right now for the future, which is gas prices seem to be going up. There's a lot of instability in the world, and we see it with geopolitics. And then the third thing we're seeing is just all of these delays, which could detract people from traveling in the future. So where there's a strong market now, they're able to increase their pricing without too much backlash. Like, people can feel okay about it. They're not feeling okay about it, but it's a time that they can do it.
Okay, so when we talk about a 20% increase, what is your best advice to folks who may be planning a future trip?
Well, I think number one, it depends on. It's not 20% across the board. It depends on where you're going. So if you have a family trip or somewhere where you need to visit family or something, you don't have a lot of flexibility there. But you do have flexibility if you're planning a fall break, or you're planning something later in the summer. I mean, as long as you have some flexibility, I would definitely be watching the fares. And when I say watching the fares, meaning, be flexible. Do you have 2 weeks, and can you leave on a Tuesday instead of a Monday? Can you stay through Sunday instead of leaving on Sunday? Can just playing with your schedule a little bit.
One of the things that the United CEO told ABC's Alex Stone was that people should make arrangements right away before the fares go up. Would you agree with that, or what would you say?
I think they're hedging I think they're hedging this a little bit. I think they're really smart. They know the algorithms. They know people are going to go in and buy really quickly, and then they'll just readjust with their demand. But I don't know about that. I think that's somewhat of a play with airlines. And of course, we all fall into it. We're all going to go and look, I was planning this trip to the Caribbean, and now I'm going to look at the fares today. I think they'll see definitely an increase. And, they know what drives prices. And again, they're not based just on this gas. It's so much more demand. So they're creating this demand. Prices are going to be going up. I would say everybody take a chill pill. You sort of know what the range is going to be. If you feel like it's going to go up, I wouldn't wait too long, but I would definitely just watch the fares.
Right. It sounds like you're saying do your research before you jump.
100%. 100%. Don't fall into the sky is falling.
Okay. Anything else that we should tell folks? You said that airline fares, they're just part of the equation.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that makes sense, right? That when you think about, most people are buying their tickets pretty far in advance. I mean, if you don't have that flexibility with work or something, that makes sense. But they're definitely hedging. Like I said, they're hedging. They're looking for demand, the booking pace, the seasonality, the competitive routes. There's so much that goes into it. So again, economic outlooks. What are they thinking about capacity constraints? Will they be able to, with getting people to book right now, they'll have strong demand for later and be able to hold those prices. If people don't book right now, they may have to readjust their pricing. But this is all the airlines. I mean, we've seen the airlines, the ups and downs of airlines. They're very good at making sure that they stay profitable.
Doug Wren is the president of Wren International.
Jackson Hewitt will do your taxes for $149 or less, no matter how complicated. So if you're a delivery driver, / handyman, / wedding DJ, you pay only $149 or less. We're talking to you, waitress.
Check, please.
/ pet sitter, / influencer. Just $149 or less. Want your refund to work as hard as you? Hurry. Don't wait. File with Jackson Hewitt today. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
You bought an RV, and you got an automatic discount from Progressive by bundling it with your home or auto insurance. That's great, but a serious word of warning every RVer should heed. You don't need to talk about things like dry weight or dump stations. And you don't need one of those expensive water filter straws either, because the most extreme thing most RVers encounter is a campsite without hookups. So just enjoy yourself and Progressive's automatic discount when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
University of Utah canceling a game that often gives football fans a little bit of excitement in a rather dry offseason. The Utes no longer playing their spring football game. They're not alone. Programs around the country have been pulling back on spring football games, hoping to protect themselves from potential player poachers. Let's go in depth now on this with Josh Furlong. He's the sports director for KSL.com. And Josh, hasn't this been like a long-standing tradition?
Yeah, this has been a long-standing tradition, and it shifted a little bit to a kind of a memorial for Ty Jordan and Aaron Lowe after their passing. But Utah, under Morgan Scalley has found that it's just not in their best interest at this time to be able to hold the spring game, mostly because of outside influences, right? The NCAA continues to change drastically, and there's a lot of little loopholes that allow players to kind of leave the program even when there's not set transfer portal deadlines. And so it's tough, right? Like, it puts these coaches in a tough position where they're trying to keep a roster intact. They're trying to keep their players there and engaged in the program, but there's outside influences that are trying to pull them out and take them to other programs. So, this is one of those things that it changes. Kyle Whittingham, before he left, he was considering it as well. So this isn't just on Morgan Scalley. It's tough. A lot of coaches around the country are doing it as well, and they're pulling back and not doing spring games because it's a difficult situation for them to maintain a roster.
Okay, so explain why the spring football game enters into that equation.
Yeah, so what happens is usually, at least the past few years, there's been a spring transfer portal, which means that teams will do their spring practices, and then there would be an open portal period, usually about 15 days, where players could enter and go choose a new team if they choose. Well, the NCAA found that was a little too chaotic, and so they closed that transfer portal, allowing for teams to kind of maintain their roster. Well, there's this kind of undercurrent for, the league where players can now kind of unenroll and then just enroll at a new school, even though it's not a transfer portal, but they do it as kind of a walk-on at their new school. And because there's NIL, they can basically cover the cost of what a scholarship would be. So it's kind of this little loophole that some teams have found. This is essentially what Jake Retzlaff did last year after competing at BYU, and then he was going to, be suspended at BYU. He unenrolled at BYU and then decided to take a walk-on role at Tulane, where he earned the starting job as their quarterback. So this is just kind of an unofficial way for players to leave a school if they choose, and then kind of get to another school in a different way. Now, the NCAA is trying to restrict this and trying to put harsh penalties on coaches that accept players that do this, but there's still no rules that impact that. So at this time, you're going to see a lot of coaches restrict spring because they don't want to highlight a lot of these players that may get poached from other schools and used in this kind of loophole to be able to go to another school.
Are there also economics that factor into this decision?
I don't know. They made some money from this in the spring game. I'm sure there's some sort of level of it costs a little bit more money to run where you got concessions and stuff. I don't think that's really a factor per se. I think it was more just trying to maintain the roster, giving yourselves also another opportunity where you can have another practice, especially with the new coach, with the new team. They're only given 15 practices for spring mandated by the NCAA, and the spring game would count as one. And so this is an opportunity for them just to kind of have another opportunity to do it. So, there's wiggle room in a lot of these different things, and it's tough. A lot of schools are going away with it, but they still want to hold a fan fest, let fans come in and be able to have an opportunity to interact with the players, get to know them, that kind of stuff. So it's there. I mean, the reality is a lot of these spring games, you weren't getting the starters playing anyway. You were getting a lot of guys that were 2 or 3 deep in the bench, trying to see how they performed. So it turned into a really glorified scrimmage that really just didn't benefit anybody at the end.
All right. So does that mean there will be some sort of fan fest then, just to kind of replace this?
Yeah, so this one will be a football only. The university does have a whole athletic department wide one in the fall, but they're going to do one just for the football program. My understanding is it's going to be April 18th, and fans will be able to come in, interact with the players, do different things to kind of have fun and kind of introduce themselves to these guys. So, Morgan Scally wants to make sure that there's still access to these guys and make sure that they get acclimated and excited about the different players on the team, but it just won't be done in a spring game fashion.
Josh, I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to help.
And Josh Furlong is the sports director for KSL.com.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. A trouble-free drive continues throughout the Wasatch Front. No issues across I-15, 215, and I-80. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, it's Brian with Olson's Greenhouse. In today's busy world, your home should be your sanctuary. A peaceful retreat where you can unwind, breathe deeply, and recharge. And what better way to create that haven than with flowers? A pop of color in your flower beds, a cheerful container garden by the front door, or a lush patio filled with vibrant blooms can transform any space into a personal oasis. Flowers don't just brighten up your home, they lift your spirits too. Research even shows that surrounding yourself with plants can reduce stress and boost happiness. At Olson's Greenhouse, we grow premium quality plants that make it easy to bring beauty and joy into your life. Whether you prefer bold, eye-catching colors or soft, soothing pastels, we have the perfect flowers to complement your space. And with locally grown plants, you know they're ready to thrive. This spring, create a sanctuary of color and comfort with flowers from Olson's Greenhouse. Find us on Instagram at Olson's Greenhouse Gardens or go to OGG.com to find a retailer near you. That's OGG.com for Olson's Greenhouse Gardens.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
I'm Congressman Mike Kennedy. For years, Utah families have paid too much for health care, groceries, and everyday essentials. I'm fighting for health care reform that puts patients first and lowers costs. I'm also working to cut waste, fraud, and abuse in Washington because your tax dollars should be spent wisely. Fiscal responsibility means lower costs and a government that works for you. I'm Mike Kennedy, and I'll keep fighting for Utah families. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
This weekly tax tip is brought to you by the Utah Association of Certified Public Accountants. Here's CEO Susan Spears.
Here's what many people are getting wrong with their income taxes. Most of us fill out a W-4 once and never look at it again. In 2026, many taxpayers will see changes. There are new deductions for overtime and tip income plus other changes. If your withholding doesn't reflect those changes, one of two things can happen. You either give the IRS an interest-free loan all year, or you get hit with a surprise tax bill in filing season. If new deductions lower your tax bill by $3,000, but your withholding never changes, that's about $250 a month coming out of your paycheck that you actually didn't owe. The UACPA suggests that now's the time for a W-4 checkup.
Get the most out of your income tax preparation when you hire a licensed CPA. Visit uacpa.org to find a CPA that's right for you. And check out new tax tip videos by following on social media at Talk to Your CPA.
Amanda, I've got a cruise planned in a couple of months, and I was thinking about the other people who may have cruises planned coming up a few months from now, and why right now would be the best time for them to begin their weight loss journey on Soda Weight Loss.
If you started right now, you could lose 20, 30, 40 pounds before June.
That's right.
I lost 37 pounds in 3 months, 3.5 years ago. And the beauty about soda is it's not a quick fix. Shilaos. This is learning that is going to last you the rest of your life and help you be healthy.
Your clothes fit better. Your energy comes back. You don't get winded going upstairs.
Yeah.
Things that maybe you don't even realize. When I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, it felt like a transformation.
You learn what works for your body so you don't get addicted to shots or drugs. You just work with a nutritionist who's going to teach you how to keep the weight off for a lifetime.
Right now, you should go check out sodaweightloss.com, see all the thousands of before and after pictures, or speak with a nutritionist by giving a call 866-800-SODA.
Soda Weight Loss. Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Gas prices are on everyone's mind right now, with the average for a gallon of gas in Utah costing more than $4 a gallon. Diesel now sitting at $5.40 a gallon. KSL investigator Matt Gephardt has been spending this week focusing on how we can save money at the pump. Yesterday, we had him in to talk about the quality of the gas that you're putting in your car. Today, he's looking at gas rewards cards and if they're worth the effort.
You have probably seen the advertisements. You can save money at the pump if you sign up for this or that credit card. And sometimes, indeed, it does work, says Chip Lupo of Wallet Hub.
Using the right card can save you about 5 to 6% on gas, which could save you hundreds of dollars.
But not so fast. Keep in mind that many Utah gas stations will charge you more if you use any credit card than if you paid with cash. So you are not going to see the benefit, that full rewards, because a portion of those rewards are going to cover the extra surcharge for using the card in the first place.
The way to save money might just be to stick a couple of 20s in your pocket.
In a lot of cases, you can do that.
But where people really lose money?
If you're carrying a balance on your credit card, do those gas rewards even matter?
That's the other key, because if you're going to go that route, you definitely want to pay the balance in full, because those rewards are going to be moot.
Moot because with rates above 20%, you're not saving, you're actually paying more. And then there's often overlooked savings that can come from store rewards. They're usually free to sign up, no interest, no risk besides maybe some junk email. Lupo says he also likes gas apps.
Also consider downloading a gas app. And there's plenty of them like Upside, Gas Buddy, that you just type in a zip code and it can help you find the cheap gas, and in a lot of cases can earn cash back.
Before signing up for a credit card for the reward, it's also worth doing a little math. Many come with an annual fee of about $100, and if you're going to save less than $100 a year, rewards cards probably not worth it.
KSL investigator Matt Gephardt there. You can get more information on gas reward cards, plus a recap on his story on the quality of gas by going to ksltv.com. To infinity and beyond. Well, maybe not infinity, but definitely to the moon. NASA announcing their intentions to quickly build a base on the moon. Start Here's Brad Milkey explains.
It's one very small step for man. If you haven't been retreating for the last 50 years, this is very much one giant leap.
We are calling today's event Ignition because it represents the start of a transformative journey for NASA.
Yesterday, NASA held a big press conference. For years, they've been talking not just about returning to the moon for the first time since 1972, but staying there for good. This was them laying out a bold new blueprint for how it's happening. What was surprising here was how quickly NASA says it wants to move.
We intend to launch Artemis 3 in 2027. What we learned from that mission will ideally give us the confidence to begin lunar landing attempts starting with Artemis 4 in 2028.
So in the next few weeks, the Artemis 2 mission promises to send astronauts around the moon and back. That was already on the books. After that, there were supposed to be more Artemis missions to land humans on the lunar surface and the construction of a space station in lunar orbit called the Lunar Gateway, like a rendezvous point, a gas station in space. Eventually, years down the road, we would get structures on the moon itself. Well, now the Gateway plan is out. The new goal is to go straight to building a manned outpost on the moon. So here's how it would work. In several phases, with the help of private contractors, we would put rovers and instruments there, followed by semi-habitable spaces where people can stay. Keep in mind, the longest any human has ever spent on the moon itself is less than 8 hours. Eventually, part 3, with the help of partners like Canada and Italy, we start getting larger and larger structures set up until astronauts can set up shop permanently.
This time, the goal is not flags and footprints. This time, the goal is to stay.
To do this will require a lot of trips, which is why officials say within a couple years, we should be sending new astronauts to the moon every 6 months. Why the sudden rush, though? Why spend all this money and potentially risk lives for this rock a couple 100,000 miles above our heads? Well, astronauts have always pointed out, experiments in space have prompted so many scientific breakthroughs down the line. Like, if we hadn't dared ourselves to go to the moon back in the day, would we have ever built the communication resources or the satellites that are now responsible for the phone in your pocket?
NASA science is the tip of the arrow for the country's advanced technology strategy, piercing the furthest veils to shape our future.
But the more pressing, more practical issue might be we're back in a space race.
The difference between success and failure will be measured in months, not years. They may be early, and recent history suggests we might be late.
The moon has lots of resources. It's got rare isotopes that could be used in quantum computing. Its pole, while dark and desolate, has enormous amounts of ice in it, which can be mined for water and oxygen for astronauts to make rocket fuel for long-distance missions. The moon could also be a strategic outpost when you look at other planets or satellites. Think like the Strait of Hormuz for distant planets.
Make no mistake, we are in a new space race with China. And if we fail, there will be a bad moon on the rise.
Earlier this year, senators were warned China is going to be on the moon by 2030. It's happening. Whoever gets there first makes the rules. And NASA has now gotten the green light from the Trump administration to step on the gas.
Brad Milkey on the Start Here podcast.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Utah-based veterans reacting to news that the U.S. Army will raise its maximum enlistment age from 35 to 42 years old.
Anyone who wants to serve their country, I commend them. And, there are a number of benefits. I mean, folks can sign up and they get GI Bill, home loan, all that kind of thing. So the military is not a bad place.
The time is 2 o'clock on Wednesday, March 25th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, the change now puts the Army on par with maximum age limits for the Air Force and the Navy. We'll go in depth on more recruitment changes in just a few minutes. Also this hour,
we're about 2 months ahead of schedule from where we would normally be at this time, which means our call volumes are higher.
Warm weather leading to more little pests coming out a little earlier than normal. We'll get an update from a pest control expert on what his company is seeing around the state right now. But first, our top stories. Classes are back in session at BYU Hawaii after devastating floods struck the islands. In a statement, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints says the hardest hit areas are the North Shore on Oahu and the islands of Maui and Molokai. Church says it's working with the community to meet the most urgent needs and to start cleaning up. Rodent infestations have spiked in St. George in the last 3 years, but pest control experts say the warm winter has made this year the worst one yet. Danny Shakespeare from Shakespeare Pest Control says, luckily, preventing infestation is not hard.
So make sure your garbage is cleaned up. Make sure whole entry points in the wall, mainly where like your AC lines go in. That's the main culprit we see. If they're already in, you need to do a little bit more. But if you're just preventing them, it doesn't take much.
Shakespeare says if they are in your home, he recommends any bait that prevents something called secondary kill in cases where the rodents are eaten by other predatory animals. Our top national story from ABC News, congressional lawmakers are still talking about how to end the partial government shutdown, which is affecting every agency at Homeland Security except for ICE. More from ABC's Andrew Dimbert.
Senator Lindsey Graham this morning saying that he's working towards a reconciliation package, which is essentially a budget tool that would allow Republicans to sidestep the 60-vote threshold to pass most legislation in the Senate, meaning the GOP wouldn't need any Democrats, just every single Republican to get on board. It's how they passed Trump's big, beautiful bill last year, by the way. But it's tricky. It can give lone GOP holdouts immeasurable negotiating leverage over their colleagues and could easily fail.
President Trump has said that he's not in favor of any deals that have been proposed. Taking a look at your money at this moment, at the close, the Dow up by 304 points, sitting at 46,428. S&P up by 35. The NASDAQ up by 167 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Tito?
All lanes are now open on eastbound Mid-Valley Highway at Parachute Park Lane in Erda. This had been closed for several hours due to a fatal accident this morning. We do have a new crash on northbound I-15 at the 4500 South on-ramp, and it's blocking the right shoulder. Whipple Service Champions is Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. And they're your first choice for offering honest second opinions. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today's high headed for 84 degrees, but a big cool down tomorrow. The temperature dropping about 20 degrees. Will be down to 65 for the high tomorrow. Our next chance for rain, the best chance on Tuesday of next week. 81 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Ready for your next vehicle? At Performance Automotive in Bountiful, your new Ford, Toyota, or Honda is here. Built for Utah communities, Canyon weekends, and everything in between. Choose capability with Ford, long-lasting reliability with Toyota, or smooth efficiency with Honda. Backed by friendly experts and financing options that fit your budget. Visit Performance Ford, Performance Toyota, and Performance Honda for your test drive. Browse inventory, check pricing, and schedule your visit at performancebountiful.com. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, driven to be the best.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Brought to you by Envision Utah.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The Army is raising the enlistment age to 42, giving more people a chance to serve even later in life. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera joins me now live. And Eric, what are you hearing locally?
Maria, this is a pretty big shift. You know, the Army is moving that cap from 35. And that change is set to take effect on April 20th. The goal here is to bring in more people, especially those with experience or specialized skills. I actually spoke with Terry Scow this morning. He's a Vietnam-era veteran, Army veteran, and former head of Utah's Department of Veteran Affairs. And he actually sees this as a positive.
The experience certainly does matter depending on what field you're getting into. As an example, they will often raise the age limit for people with specialty backgrounds like medical folks, that kind of thing. And fitness matters, but you know, the Army is a big organization, everything from cyber war specialists to infantry to helicopter pilots. So a lot of it depends. I mean, clearly the infantry is probably one of the more arduous, if you will, and special forces, those folks, you know, the requirements to them are higher, but I think it depends on what the job is they're going to happen to do, and if they've got special skills, why not? I mean, to quote a phrase, we're looking for a few good men and women.
So, Eric, I think when we hear 40s, though, we're thinking about physical in 40s. We're not the same as we were in our 20s. So that's really hard to hear.
I feel that one so hard, Maria. I'm in my early 40s myself. I could barely keep up with my 8-year-old, let alone doing some kind of physical test like that.
Not to say that there aren't a lot of people in the 40s who are in much better shape.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I've seen people much older than me that are running miles. I asked him straight up, right? Would you have been a better soldier at 20 or if you started at 40? He told me for him, younger was better, but it was because of how physically demanding it was in his role, like he said, like running and training. But he also pointed out the Army isn't just combat roles anymore, right? There are jobs where experience can actually matter more than raw endurance.
It's an interesting change. Thank you, Eric.
Absolutely.
And this isn't the first time the military's done this, right?
Yeah, exactly. The Army actually raised the enlistment age to 42 back in the mid-2000s. During the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and then lowered it again to 35 actually about 10 years ago. So what we're seeing now is kind of a return to that approach, right? Trying to widen the pool as recruiting needs shift. Scow says this really comes down also to opportunity, right? He says if someone can meet the standards and wants to serve, especially if they've got skills the military needs, it makes sense to give them a shot.
All right. Thanks, Eric. That is KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera. The warm winter and increasingly hot March has a lot of pests coming out sooner than usual. Now, we've talked in the past days about the rattlesnakes and the ticks, things you better watch out for in the wild. But what about in your own backyard or even inside of your home? Chief Operations Officer of Mountain West Pest Control, Matthew Stuckey, and I spoke about how the warm weather is impacting business.
Warmer weather is always going to place an impact when it comes to pest control or rodent control or whatever similar services that we provide as a company. And so what's happening is we're about 2 months ahead of schedule from where we would normally be at this time, which means our call volumes are higher. We're seeing things especially bad with wasps, elm seed bugs, box elder bugs. Mosquitoes are already out and rampant. And then like you had mentioned, rats and other rodents that fall under like our wildlife category, such as raccoons, moles, voles, things of that nature, are already, out and about where we wouldn't anticipate this for another month and a half to 2 months normally.
Wow. What is the most prevalent call that you're getting, and what are you seeing the most?
Yeah, I would say that overall it's wasps and our box elder bugs. Again, just because of that quick turn and higher temperatures, we're already seeing adults out there where normally this time of year at best we would see some of the babies just beginning to come out. But when it's in an adult stage, that means those adults are then out laying additional eggs and further producing. And so we recommend as people see those things to call a pest professional. Obviously, we would love it if they called Mountain West, but any pest professional to allow them to handle these things early so it doesn't become a bigger problem for them.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Why is the early prevention the way to go?
Early prevention is always the way to go simply because of that word prevention. So it's much easier to prevent something big from happening than to go back and to remedy a large problem that has come and is currently taking place in your home. Obviously, just common sense would say like it's much easier to get rid of a single rat than it is a few dozen, right? The same applies to any bug or any pest pressure that you're going to see in your home. Now, there are a lot of things that you can do personally before you have to go out and spend money. So you see a small wasp nest up on your home, get that knocked down, get rid of it. Don't allow those wasps to, build a place where they want to come back to and get larger and larger. That's really important. Other things that you could do naturally in your home is just try and find ways where you're not creating harborages for pests and or rodents. So things like wood piles or large piles of leaves or grass clippings, things where these bugs can really make a home for themselves, we've seen creates a large problem in the long run.
Where you're seeing these calls coming in so much earlier than normal, is it important for people to actually make an appointment more quickly because you have such a demand right now?
It's always going to, or we always recommend that, right? To call us quickly as soon as they're seeing an issue, because again, it's all about that prevention and when we can stay on top of it. Oftentimes people wait till it's a big deal and then call us, and then, every company is going to be very busy at that time. We have great turnaround times here at Mountain West Pest Control. Oftentimes we can get out to your house within 24 to 48 hours, but that's only going to get harder and harder as we see this pest pressure continue to increase.
Matt, anything we need to add?
I think that it's just important for people to know that sometimes pest control seems scary, or chemicals or things of that nature, but any proper pest control company is going to be using hospital-grade products. It's important that when you're searching out a company that you're finding companies that are using proper products that are going to have the best impact on your home, but no negative impacts on you or your family. And so I would recommend, spending that possibly extra money to get a proper company that's licensed, insured, registered with the state, all of those things that are important to make sure that you're not having any other issues and that their technicians are trained properly so that, again, this isn't becoming a bigger issue for you. Overall, it's nothing to be scared about. It's just something that you need to take into consideration so, again, that you're not having a larger problem down the road.
Matthew Stuckey is the Chief Operations Officer for Mountain West Pest Control. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Doug Wright here with Monty at Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer. Monty, give it to me straight. Why is Connecticut the premium choice over those standard electric softeners?
Doug, it comes down to this. Do you want an appliance you have to babysit? Standard water softeners have microprocessors and computers that need setting and adjustment, and they use a lot more salt. So you get to haul 40-pound bags of salt down to your basement every month or so.
And Connecticut?
Zero electricity, zero timers to reset, zero downtime, and uses 70% less salt. It's a higher standard of engineering that completely removes the hassle of owning a water softener.
That's what I love about my Connecticut. Dee and I never have to even think about it. We occasionally add a bag of salt and it just works, and I've never had to set or adjust anything. Do what I did and get the one that just works. Find out how soft your water could be at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Another day of long lines at airports around the country, and another day of TSA agents working without a paycheck. Some glimmers of hope yesterday fading away as the day began today. ABC's Jay O'Brien has the update.
There was serious momentum on Capitol Hill because the night before we had started to get the vibes, if you will. Capitol Hill really runs off vibes, that a deal was coming together. Republicans were getting prepared, and then ultimately they did make this offer, but they were getting prepared with a proposal that would fund every single agency inside DHS except for immigration enforcement, because Democrats, remember, have been holding back their votes on DHS funding in exchange for reforms to ICE.
The Republicans pre-funded ICE with an equivalent of about 7 years of their budget in the reconciliation bill that they passed last year with no Democratic votes. They pre-funded ICE and not the other agencies.
And over the course of this process, Democrats have said, let's pass TSA funding, let's pass Coast Guard funding, let's pass Secret Service funding. They've brought various bills to those effects onto the floor for votes, and they've been shot down repeatedly by Republicans who have said, no, everything should be funded at once.
8 times we asked, no poison pills, no politics, no conditions, just paychecks and public safety. 8 times Republicans blocked it.
And then finally, starting late Monday night into Tuesday, Republicans started to change course. And they said, okay, we would be open to funding just parts of DHS, everything but immigration enforcement pretty much, and to punt immigration enforcement funding, ICE funding, to future legislation that would come in another bill down the road.
So if Republicans are starting to get on board with what the Democrats are proposing, then what's the holdup?
Well, that's what John Thune said.
It's really in the hands of the Democrats. We're ready to move.
John Thune, the top Republican in the Senate, came out and said to Democrats, we're giving you everything you asked for.
And I hope they will put their money where their mouth is, and if they are sincere about actually getting DHS opened up again, that they'll provide the votes and work with us in order to make that happen.
To which Chuck Schumer and Senate Democratic leaders said, no, you're not.
We need reforms to ICE. We need to rein in the violence. We have never changed our position.
Democrats have said over the course of this shutdown that they are, as I mentioned, holding firm for reforms to ICE. And while they've tried to pass these various other funding mechanisms to fund agencies other than ICE, yesterday when they were confronted with the possibility that DHS could be funded entirely except for ICE, and then ICE would be passed in another bill down the road. They said, no, we want these ICE reforms now.
This does not have any reforms in ICE, but they've sent us, negotiations are ongoing, and they've sent us an offer, and we'll be sending them an offer back. And I can assure you it'll contain significant reform in it.
Those demands for reforms include warrants signed by judges before ICE agents could go into homes or businesses. They would prevent ICE agents from wearing masks. They would require agents wear body cameras, and the list goes on. And that's the impasse now. Republicans are essentially saying, look, we're running out of things to offer. And Democrats are saying, just make these reforms happen and this shutdown would end.
Jay says the president's stance publicly appears to be different than what he wants privately.
Well, I don't want to comment until I see the deal, but as you know, they're negotiating a deal.
Over the weekend, sources told us that President Trump spoke with Republican leaders, and he was presented with this idea of funding everything inside of DHS except for ICE, and he rejected it. He's made some other demands. He thinks that this legislation should also have components of his Save America Act in it, which is legislation that requires proof of citizenship before registering to vote. That's something Democrats have said is a non-starter that would put unnecessary hurdles up for legal voters.
What the bill is voter suppression, plain and simple.
Then, Monday night, several Republican senators were told to go to the White House. They're in the Oval Office with President Trump and the man who is later confirmed that very same night as his new Secretary of Homeland Security, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, now Secretary Mullen. And we're told, according to senators who were inside that room and others who are familiar with these discussions, that President Trump ultimately came around to this plan of funding DHS in pieces and kicking the can down the road on ICE because ICE has the money to operate right now. And then yesterday, Trump comes out in the Oval Office and says he doesn't like any deal.
I guess they're getting fairly close, but I think any deal they make, I'm pretty much not happy with it.
So exactly where he rests in this is very unclear. Republicans appear confident that he's going to have their back here, but ultimately, his support is going to be critical because if this can get out of the Senate and if Republicans and Democrats can set aside their differences and actually come to some kind of an agreement, and we are told that negotiations are progressing, but if they can get this out of the Senate, it's still got to go through the House again, Brad. And that is going to be a tall order because we've seen the drama with the slim Republican majority in that chamber of getting any bill over the goal line. And it usually takes personal pressure from the president. But if this deal, this proposal is a tough pill for President Trump to swallow, he might not exert that personal pressure to get this over the goal line. It's really going to hinge on him.
That is ABC's Jay O'Brien on the Start Here podcast, talking about the latest developments on funding for the Department of Homeland Security. Utah Senator John Curtis is also commenting on the ongoing partial government shutdown, saying despite what lawmakers often think at the beginning, shutdowns never produce their intended results. Here's the senator today on CNBC's Squawk Box.
Yeah, I've been here for 8 years. I've seen more shutdowns than I can count. Not a single one of them has produced the results it was intended to produce. Shutdowns are bad. We punish the wrong people, and who we should be punishing are members of Congress. Let's take our pay away until we get this done. And listen, a lot of the objectives that are trying to reach through shutdowns, whether it's Republican shutdown or Democrat shutdown, should be reached through the legislative process, not by hostage. So I'm not a fan of shutdowns. I've never seen one that's been productive or accomplished its goal. And I think we need to move on and deal with this through the legislative process.
The senator also says there's no reason that we can't have both rule of law and compassion when it comes to tackling illegal immigration.
The false narrative is that you can't have rule of law and compassion. And I think that's what our country is built on. I know those are Utah values, and I really believe we can enforce the law. We can have rule of law, but we can also do it with compassion. I think that's where American people are a little bit uncomfortable with some of the things they've seen.
I'm not sure. So you are in favor of sanctuary cities then?
That's not what I said. I said rule of law, right? Rule of law is not a sanctuary city, but that's how you enforce the law, right, that I'm talking about.
Are you in favor of Congressman Jordan's what he's going to be talking about? Would you vote yay on that if you got a chance?
Listen, I did in the House, by the way. I'm pretty sure we voted on that bill in the House a number of times. What you're not hearing is, yes, rule of law is important. We have to have rule of law in this country. But compassion with that rule of law is not a mutually exclusive idea.
Senator John Curtis there, speaking today on CNBC's Squawk Box. A new homeless plan hoping to provide more individualized support for Utah's unhoused population. More on Project Bridge coming up next. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Tito?
Still dealing with an accident at the northbound 4500 South on-ramp in Murray. It is off to the right shoulder and not causing any issues. Aside from this, our freeways remain trouble-free all across the Wasatch Front. Replenish Landscape Garden Products offers the finest compost soil blends, bark, mulch, playground chips, and more. When you want the very best, visit replenishcompost.com. Replenish, it's good stuff. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Have you ever lost weight, then gained it all back? You're not alone. The number one concern people have about starting a weight loss program isn't losing the weight, it's gaining it back. A lot of programs can help you lose weight, but very few teach you how to keep it off. Some require you spend thousands a year on medications or prepackaged meals to maintain your results, but when you stop paying, the weight often comes right back. At SLC Fat Loss, they do things differently. Their doctor-developed program helps adults lose 20 to 40 pounds in about 60 days, using real food from the grocery store. But more important, they teach you how to maintain your weight loss long-term without giving up the foods you love or relying on ongoing medication or expensive meal programs. That's why thousands of clients across Utah have trusted SLC Fat Loss to help them lose the weight and keep it off. To see if you're a candidate, schedule your free consultation today at slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com. Results may vary.
It was opening night at Hale Center Theater for The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Victor Hugo's classic tale. I was with my son, Ian, and it was nothing short of spectacular. The staging, the costuming, the music, it's simply breathtaking. And, of course, the actors and the voices. You have to see The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's on the main stage right now at Hale Center Theater. So many of the scenes are never to be forgotten. For example, when Frollo is just struggling with his passion for Esmeralda and his soul, the flames and the tension on the stage is unbelievable. And to see the Hunchback up in the tower with the bells, don't miss Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's underway right now at Hale Center Theater. And continuing, Peter Pan Goes Wrong. That's on the Jewel Box stage and Hallmarked on the Beehive stage. Get your tickets now. hct.org. Don't miss the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Drivers who switch their home and auto with Progressive could save money and time. Other things try to do this, but they really don't. Like the touchscreen at fast food places. It's not like you save time because it takes you longer to use a touchscreen than, I don't know, someone who works there. And another thing, you'd think it would save money because they're not paying a cashier, right? But no, same price. Also, why is there an option to tip? Who am I tipping? Exactly. Anyway, even if you can't save money and time with some things, you could with a Progressive Home and Auto Bundle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers, not available in all states or situations.
Not sure how to tackle your taxes? Are you sweating the small print? You may be experiencing FOMO, the fear of messing up. The answer? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. It's time to take your taxes to the max. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Governor Spencer Cox hopes a new homeless services plan will better provide people individualized help. The plan is called Project Bridge. Utah's homeless coordinator, Tyler Clancy, explains the idea behind the project.
Governor Cox has outlined a vision for homelessness. He wants our success to be more about how the system is functioning as a whole and helping people heal on their pathway of human dignity. And so we feel that Project Bridge is just the first step in making Governor Cox's vision for homelessness a reality, helping people heal and recover.
Clancy says that over 100 days, they want to work directly in homeless shelters, connecting people with the exact services they need, whether it be mental health treatment or a peer support specialist.
So we're using this opportunity to pivot our strategy from temporary solutions to long-term solutions and stability. And so what we're planning to do is invest some money up front to make sure that we have some stability in the system. And then we're going to build an opportunity for individuals, particularly who are in the overflow shelters, to have an opportunity at a full scope review of our inventory. So everything from housing, substance abuse treatment, mental health, family reunification, and build the framework for those warm handoffs to take place. So we're going to do this by partnering up with our community partners in those fields who are already doing a great work and helping people make those exits from homelessness.
Clancy tells KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez the project is focusing on the 680 people in the overflow system, meaning those who couldn't find a bed to sleep in a homeless shelter.
So the 100-day timeline, this is kind of the beginning. This is the first step. There are already significant amount of programs in our community who are doing amazing work in the addiction treatment, mental health treatment, and housing spaces. And so we're going to find the spots or the beds in those programs that are available today. And so by doing that, we can have an opportunity to rapidly place people in the services that they need. The 100 days is now until our new appropriations come online, and we can use this period of time to see what works, what doesn't, and hopefully orient our investment and our energy to the future.
Project Bridge is focused on giving every person a bed to sleep in at night.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show him you love him. Keep him safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's 2:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. A less than stellar job market right now, causing worries among Americans looking for jobs right now, especially new college grads. We'll get details on how you and your kids can best market themselves. Plus, a closer look at the rising price of food and how that's affecting our nutrition intake. And KSL traffic, Tito?
The trouble-free drive mostly remains, but the pace does look to be picking up across our valley freeways. Maria?
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. A key verdict today in a landmark case against social media companies that own Instagram and YouTube. The jury agreeing with a woman plaintiff who says social media companies impacted her mental health when she was a minor.
On the 9th day of deliberating, the jury finding both Meta and YouTube are liable in a first-of-its-kind lawsuit that could tee up many more such suits. The jury finding the platforms that create Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are negligent in the design or operation of their platforms, causing harm to a 20-year-old woman who says her use of social media as a child addicted her to the technology and led to mental health issues. The jury awarding the woman $3 million. Meta saying in a statement it disagrees with the verdict and is evaluating its legal options. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
YouTube in a statement says it will appeal. The jury also decided punitive damages, awarding another $3 million to the plaintiff. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. Utah will once again be using drones to help set prescribed fires this summer. But soon, we could also be using them to set off controlled avalanches. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
UDOT primarily uses helicopter drops, towers, and even howitzer cannons to trigger avalanches, but these drones, which are already being used to set off avalanches in Alaska, will carry the explosive to the drop point, and that explosive can be triggered remotely.
The ability to have the operator safely on the ground is just huge.
That's Carrick Detweiler, the CEO of Drone Amplified, one of the companies talking with UDOT about potentially bringing this technology to Utah. In terms of whether that'll actually happen, UDOT's John Gleason tells me
it is absolutely conceivable.
Though Gleason says they still need to figure some things out, like is this safe to use in a much more populated state like Utah and whether local laws will allow it. But he did say if there's a safer way to do avalanche control,
that's something that we're always going to be interested in.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
University of Utah has canceled the spring football game. Josh Furlong, KSL.com sports director, says the reasons are sound. Though the game is played outside the transfer portal window, there are threats from other coaches who want to steal players.
It puts these coaches in a tough position where they're trying to keep a roster intact. They're trying to keep their players there and engaged in the program, but there's outside influences that are trying to pull them out. And
Furlong says the game counts as one of the 15 practices allowed, but often the starters don't play, making it a glorified scrimmage. Many other schools opt out of their spring games for the same reasons. Other local stories KSL is following. 50 different Jersey Mike's locations in Utah are partnering with the 2026 Special Olympics USA Games. All sales made today at the select locations will go towards the organization. The sandwich chain is hoping to break last year's record donation of $30 million. And taking a look at your money at this moment, at the close, the Dow was up 305 points, more than 0.5%, sitting at 46,429. S&P up by 35. The NASDAQ up by more than 0.75%, up 168 points. Traffic and weather brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. Tito?
I-15 still in great shape with good speeds going both directions between Ogden and Provo. However, in North Salt Lake, we are seeing slow speeds on northbound Legacy Parkway. This is due to construction starting at the I-215 junction and looks to extend up towards West 1100 North. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Feels like summer today with a high of 84. Tomorrow, kind of back to spring, the high 65, but the temperature climbing over the next few days back to 80 by Sunday. 81 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes in new inventory every day. Then they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. So you're invited to visit the movie show Friday 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
Taxes was waiting on the refund you needed yesterday.
All right, your car repair is going to run about $3,000.
Now Taxes is getting back on the road with TurboTax and Credit Karma, where you can get your refund up to 5 days faster and get personalized guidance to take every dollar further. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Deposit a federal refund into Credit Karma Money account and early submission of refund data by IRS required. Terms apply. Banking services provided by MVB Bank, Inc. Member FDIC. Credit Karma is not a bank.
What is it, boy? Someone need help? Someone in trouble? Oh, okay. So you just want me to get Progressive Auto Insurance because their collision coverage covers up to $1,000 in vet bills if you're injured in an accident? That's it? Okay. Calm down. Let's not resort to name calling.
Progressive's collision coverage helps pay for care for your pet when they're in the car during an accident.
No, you're right. Sorry. I shouldn't have said calm down.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage included with purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
Andy, I like that shirt. Is that a new shirt?
It is. It's from Ann Collar, and it's really rare to find a shirt that looks good and is super comfortable. And this is a fabric unlike anything I've ever felt.
I got one for my husband and my sons, and watching my 19-year-old put on the Ann Collar shirt and sort of check himself out in the mirror, I thought, wow, he's really digging that. And I could understand why, because it's not just comfortable, it's stain repellent, which I needed.
Oh, my goodness.
Because
Something.
He attracts spaghetti sauce to shirts like you would not believe. And with these Ann Collar shirts, I can get it out.
Amanda, I have to wear a special bib when I eat spaghetti with a white shirt on. But with Ann Collar shirts, it takes those little tiny nicks and stains, and they don't stick to you. Yeah, you don't have to dump a bucket of stuff on you, but it would repel that too.
You've got to try one. So whether it's the traditional white shirt or any of the patterns they have, it's Ann Collar, and they're made right here in Utah.
If you've never tried Ann Collar before, we have got permission to give you 15% off at andcollar.com and go get your first. Use the code KSL15.
That's And Collar, ANDcollar.com.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Chances are good that you know someone who's looking for a job. Chances are also good that they are becoming increasingly frustrated in looking. Less than a third of American workers right now think that it's a good time to find a job, and it's especially bleak for college grads. In fact, they haven't seen this down of a market since 2013. Now, the results come as government data shows overall hiring is at its weakest level in more than a decade and holds true with what economists call the low hire, low fire job market. Senior economist at Zions Bank, Robert Spendlove, joined Inside Sources this morning with his thoughts on the current job market.
If you look at job growth in the last month in the United States was down. It was down about 92,000 jobs. But part of that was because of some dynamics of strikes in California. If we look at the unemployment rate remains pretty low. It's at 4.4%. And you look historically, that's a pretty good unemployment rate. But once you start to dig into the data a little bit more, what we see is layoff announcements have increased, and we're seeing kind of a slowing in the hiring rate and also in job openings. And so that's what people are feeling. You know, part of the problem is we've had such a positive period a couple of years ago coming out of the pandemic. And the question is whether we're just going back to normal or whether there's other things going on.
So if you or someone you know or love finds themselves in this situation, what can they possibly do to market themselves better? And for college students who are graduating within the next few months, what do they do? Joining me now on Midday is Julie Bauke. She's a career strategist and the managing partner at the Bauke Group. Julie, thanks so much for being with me.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's pretty scary out there right now, especially for new grads.
Yeah, so give us your thoughts on the current job market.
Yeah, just a real quick stat I think this is really important to take a look at is that right now the unemployment rate for people out of school with a bachelor's degree looking for their first job is 9.25%. And that's almost exactly the same unemployment rate for people without a college degree at the same age. And so we're starting to see a real level set around what really is the value of a college degree in certain professions. Mm-hmm. So we've got a situation where we still have a backlog from last year because last fall, you know, the 2025 graduates, many of them are still looking for jobs, and only about 30% of them have actually found a job in their field and what they studied for. And so with people hanging on to their jobs at all ages and all levels, it really sort of stops the natural flow of people moving through companies and then on to other things. And so because of that, we're seeing people really of all ages doing different things. The number of people applying for the paperwork, sending in paperwork to start their own businesses is up 40% over the same time last year. So there's interesting movement in the job market. But if you're getting out of school, the best advice I can give you is do not sit online and apply for jobs all day long because that is almost a waste of time. It is not productive. People hire people, and so you have to be out and about. One of my favorite words for new grads is get and stay useful, whether it's volunteering or doing a job that has nothing to do with your major. The more you're out around other people, the more likely you are to be recognized and then referred around the online dumpster fire into a role. So there is hiring out there, but it's not going to come knock on your door.
Right. So, Julie, how can they market themselves? I mean, are there things that they can do online to make themselves stand out?
You know, it's so tough because AI and all the applicant tracking systems are really kind of running the screening process when you apply for things online at the traditional job boards. It's places like LinkedIn are better in terms of having a more curated job market board. And you can also, on places like LinkedIn, every new grad should have a LinkedIn profile, and you should be connecting with people, maybe even fellow alums from your school that would have more interest in seeing you land than anyone else would. Learning about jobs, learning about what companies are hiring, what they're doing, networking with people. LinkedIn is probably the best place for a young professional to be from a networking standpoint. Now, you know, this is what I call sort of counterintuitive advice, but we think sometimes when we're looking for a job that the more open and flexible I am, the more options I'm giving myself. And the truth is, if a company has a couple openings, they've gotten permission to fill a couple openings, and they're going to be particular about who they hire. They're not looking to hire somebody who just wants to do anything. They're looking for someone who has given a lot of thought to what they want to do and has focused their messaging, their resume, their LinkedIn profile, and their search on what they know they want to do. That person is a better hire than somebody says, just hire me, I'll do anything.
Yeah, I've had students who have told me, hey, I don't want to really apply for that job. It's not really what I want to do, but isn't getting your foot in the door the whole idea?
Yeah, and doing wherever you can show up to demonstrate things like, and these are the things employers are looking for from young people and they're not finding. You can demonstrate your work ethic, your communication skills, the ability to problem solve, the ability to talk directly to colleagues and customers. Show up on time, do a great job. Don't say, you know what, I don't have anything to do, so I'm going to dip out early. You're early in your career, and so it's really important that you take those opportunities to demonstrate those skills and those traits and characteristics you have, regardless of whether you're in your dream job or not. This is a building process. We're in a different place than we were decades ago, or even a decade and a half ago, where you would grab the lowest rung on the corporate ladder and just keep climbing. Those days are gone.
Julie, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being with me.
You're welcome.
Julie Bauke, career strategist and managing partner at the Bauke Group. Midday continues in just a moment.
Hello, this is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. Take the first step. Visit CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com.
Grand Staircase Escalante is under attack. Utah politicians are hastily racing to dismantle protections for this special place, one of America's most treasured national monuments and an important part of southern Utah's economy. An overwhelming majority of Utahns support protecting the Grand Staircase for future generations. Yet our voices are being ignored by those meant to represent us. Now's the moment to speak up. Learn more about this attack and what could permanently be lost at suwa.org. Paid for by Southern Utah Wilderness Alliance.
I want more from my checking account. That's why I have Dream Rewards checking from Cyprus Credit Union. I earn points for making everyday purchases, paying my loans, even building my savings. Those points get me awesome rewards like cash back, gift cards, travel, and more. I'm making my everyday spending work for me. Learn more at cypruscu.com.
Cyprus Credit Union, your future is our future.
Insured by NCUA.
Rocky Mountain Gun Shows.
Don't miss the Rocky Mountain Gun Show Saturday and Sunday, March 28th and 29th at the Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. Stock up on wholesale ammo now and take advantage of savings that won't last. Get 500 rounds of 9mm ammo for just $85 with no limit on quantity. It's the Rocky Mountain Gun Show, so you know it'll be good.
Rocky Mountain Gun Shows.
Food costs are going up, and many people are choosing cheaper foods, which might not always be the healthiest. I spoke with Dr. Carrie Durward, Associate Professor and Nutrition Specialist at the Utah State Extension, to get her take.
So typically when food costs go up, or we're feeling financial strain in other ways, we are going to make changes like looking for sales, switching to lower cost brands like store brands. We're going to dine out less, and we're not going to buy as many of kind of the non-essential foods. So things more like sweets or snacks will kind of be the first to be cut.
So how has this kind of evolved over time? I mean, how have we changed up the types of foods we buy based on what the economy is like?
Yeah, so as the economy gets worse for people, then they tend to buy less food overall, and the types of foods that they buy changes. So typically, we're still going to buy things like bread and milk, even if the price is going up. but we might not splurge on foods that we don't see as an important part of our diet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Vegetables, meat right now are both pretty highly priced. Are those kind of the first things that go as well?
Yeah, so there's a little bit more what we call price elasticity on meat, right? Where people feel like it's an important part of their dinner, and so they're willing to accept, higher and higher prices. Typically, people will be switching to less expensive cuts of meat or types of meat before they will just stop buying meat altogether. Vegetables is a big one. People see that as more of a nice to have than a have to have. And I would encourage people to think about some of our vegetables that are nearly always pretty low cost. So things like white potatoes, onions, cabbage, things like that are nearly always going to be a good deal, and you're going to get a lot of nutrition from your buck.
And do we still get the same kind of nutrition when we buy things like frozen vegetables or canned vegetables that might be less expensive than the fresh vegetables?
Great question. So frozen vegetables are nearly 100% the same as fresh vegetables. So they are a great option. If they're on sale and you have room to stock up, do it. We've got lots of great recipes about how to use them on our nutrition website. Canned vegetables, although we do lose some of the nutrients that are more fragile when we process them, things like vitamin C, some of the B vitamins, other things are still in there, and they're still a better option than no vegetables at all, right? So my canned peaches are still a good source of vitamin A. They're still a good source of fiber. And so those are another good way to make sure that we're getting in our fruits and vegetables when money's tight.
Yeah, just one final question for you. When money is tight, do we tend to turn to things like mac and cheese that maybe aren't as healthy for us?
Yeah, so when money's tight, we definitely see an uptick in things that we think of as kind of like hard times foods. So things like ramen, mac and cheese, etc. And those aren't necessarily unhealthy options. They tend to be lower in fiber. And so I would just encourage people, those frozen veggies that you got at the store, toss some of those into the water as you're cooking your pasta or your noodles, and your mac and cheese or your ramen instantly so much more nutritious for you.
Dr. Carrie Durward is a nutrition specialist and associate professor of dietetics at Utah State University. Have you been blinded by the light? We're talking about those LED headlights, the ones that can feel like staring at the sun. Now, we asked you to chime in with your thoughts on Facebook, and boy, oh boy, did you respond. We're going in depth next, but first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. Tito?
In North Salt Lake, we are seeing slow speeds due to construction on northbound Legacy Parkway, starting at the I-215 junction and continuing up towards Woods Cross, and delays both directions on I-80 Parley's Canyon approaching the quarry, possibly due to safety work. Expect residual congestion. Celebrate Easter at Abravanel Hall March 30th. Join Grammy-nominated Jenny Oaks Baker and experience The Redeemer, a breathtaking musical journey honoring Jesus Christ. Save 15% with code RISEN15 at jennyoaksbaker.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
This is Andy Farnsworth with One Kind Act a Day's Minute of Kindness, brought to you by the Semnani Family Foundation. In Sandy, a longtime teacher is feeling the kindness she spent years passing on to her students. Karen Fitch, a retired educator who still substitutes and volunteers in science classrooms within the Canyon School District, lost her home to a fire recently. While her son and 3 dogs escaped safely, the home was left unlivable. When the word reached Granite Elementary, students and staff responded immediately. The school all joined in writing handwritten notes, cards, and heartfelt messages of support. Parents, co-workers, and former students joined in, surrounding Fitch with encouragement and care. A GoFundMe created on her behalf quickly surpassed its goal, and Fitch is now focused on finding a new place to live so her family can be together again. She says the outpouring of love has been overwhelming, a powerful reminder that kindness really does come back around. Who can you show up for today? Find out more at thepowerofkind.org. That's thepowerofkind.org.
Looking for something fun to win this week? Head to ksl.com/win and enter now. We're giving you the chance to score tickets to the Disney Worlds Collide concert tour. Win tickets to rock out at the Guess Who Tour or catch the action live with tickets to Real Salt Lake or the Utah Jazz. It's quick, easy, and free to enter, so don't miss out. Visit ksl.com/win today and see what you could be winning this week. ksl.com/win. Good luck.
Join KSL, the movie show, this Friday, 10 to 1 at the Layton NPS store, 1150 North Main Street in Layton, npsstore.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-979-3535. That's 800-979-3535. 800-979-3535.
Are your investments in the right accounts? What's best, traditional or Roth? Are you receiving all available tax deductions? Are you paying as little in tax as you can? These are all questions you can't afford to get wrong. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth, and in many cases, it's not what you make, but it's what you keep that makes the real difference. Trajan Wealth and Trajan Tax work closely together exclusively. No more guessing about whether you should do a Roth conversion, or if maxing out your 401k is really the best option. Our nationally recognized fiduciary advisors and CPA team work in tandem to make sure your tax strategy works with your investment strategy. We'll even do your tax preparation. One team, one strategy. Isn't it time for a second opinion? Call Trajan today. 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos.
Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche, another runner in the night. Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche, another runner in the night. Blinded by the light.
All right, have you been blinded by the light? Those super bright LED headlights making it harder and harder for folks to drive on the road. We asked you to share your thoughts on Facebook. Do you have issues with bright lights on the highway? Christy said yes, especially those with macular degeneration. She says their eyes struggle to adapt to light, so being blinded by brighter lights isn't good for anyone. Nisha said they are so bright that you can't even properly judge the car's distance anymore. Whit said yes all the time, so much so I often move my rear view mirror so I'm not being blinded. Large trucks and SUVs are the biggest culprits. Well, you're not alone. AAA releasing the results of a new survey that found 6 in 10 drivers struggle with headlight glare. AAA's Julian Paredes joined Inside Sources to explain some of the findings of that study.
Big thing about it is it can affect everybody. You know, men reported headlight glare, but more women. I do think it has a lot to do with the vehicle more than the driver. You know, there's a lot of big changes. You know, probably one of the big changes in the last 10 years is SUVs and crossovers are becoming a lot more popular. Those vehicles have taller ride height. And, that kind of causes the perfect angle for, really bright headlights to be really distracting. So when it comes to gender, maybe it's just a personal preference of men just prefer taller vehicles.
Joining me now on Midday is Midday's executive producer, Andy Cupp, and Jeff Kaplan is here because he's preparing for his show. Let me just first say to you, both of you, I thought I was the only one. I thought I was having a real problem with my nighttime eyesight. I was driving in a storm way back when there was a storm, and I could barely see the road because of those headlights.
Oh, it's bad.
So this makes me feel like, okay, at least I'm not the one going blind.
And what's bad is I know you drive an SUV.
Well, so it's a small Jeep.
But you're still pretty high
You're high up.
I am. Yes.
So that's saying something right there. I drive a little Toyota Camry. And
you are blind.
Oh, 100% all the time. And I'm one of those people that I will turn my rear view mirror, like you flip it up a little bit.
Right.
Because I'm like, I can't see anything. And I want you to know how bright it is. But then I've also been in cars. My dad has a higher truck that has those lights. And he can't do anything about it.
No. He can't.
So
what do you think, Jeff?
I think that a lot of these people don't realize how horrible their lights are to other people. They're just driving along. I can see. They don't realize they're blinding people.
Well, no, they're thinking, hey, I have the latest headlights, so I can see better what's ahead of me on the road.
Hey, that's not wrong. I love when you're out in the middle of nowhere and you turn on your brights and you can see the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love that. Just not all the time.
Yeah, I'm in a smallish sedan. I'm down low. And I say nasty things to myself in the car when those headlights are coming at me. About them. I'm talking about you.
It is funny just to see the comments that we've received on the social posts on this, though, Andy.
Oh,
there were so many.
Yeah, we're up to just under 800 right now. And we posted this just about a day ago.
Do you want to share a couple of your favorites?
Oh, yeah. There's somebody says add an astigmatism and it's a party. I have astigmatism, so 1,000%. I'm right there with you, Savannah. They're so funny. Somebody says it. You come over a hill of any kind and boom, instant blindness. That's from Kimmy.
So true.
I mean, you can't even see and judge how far away people are. There was one comment, I think I actually threw it in the script for you, from somebody, and they talked about, don't go towards the light. It's not your time just yet.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
It's great.
I love that. Jeff Kaplan is here. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. It's 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. I want to smack this computer because the temperature feels like it's wrong, but it's right. It's 82 in Salt Lake City. KSL's top story. West Jordan police